You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent and Austen Show.
2 games in London. We start your Wednesday off with some news. 2 home games in London, 6 inside Everbank Stadium, which we will now take a live look at, with construction well underway, going as fast as they can. Just to take a mental, if you're watching with us already this morning, take a mental picture of what this looks like. To keep up to date with the changes that you'll see in the following months, in the year and a half, all the way until we get to the stadium of the future. A lot of news coming out of Jags HQ today as we welcome you in. Jason Hamby, Austen Lane in Orlando. Brent will be along later from Boston. We'll have Marcel Robinson stopping by. Mia O'Brien will check in live from Indianapolis at the NFL Combine. Right now, Jaguars president Mark Lamping is talking to the media. We will have coverage of that as more stuff comes out. But obviously the big news and the focus of that press conference this morning, 2 home games in London. Not a surprise, Austen Lane, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best of news for Jags fans.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm a little surprised by it. I thought it was going to be 1 home game and 1 away game. You know, I didn't know they were going to take another home game away this year from Jacksonville, even though the stadium will not be at full capacity, obviously, with like the rebuilding and everything, to make way for the new stadium, ushering it in 2 years. So I am honestly a little surprised that this got announced, and I think you're seeing on Twitter and on social media there's some surprise too from fans, and a little frustration simply because you come off of a 13-win season, you have all the momentum. Yes, we understood that the stadium was going to be at a lower capacity this season, but now I think fans are a little shocked, like, okay, so in doing that, now you're taking another home game away.
Yeah, why I say it's not surprising is obviously we know that they were looking to make this as smooth as possible, and from their perspective, really, so I'm not going to blame anybody who's upset for this at all. That being said,
you shouldn't,
and I won't.
You have every right to be upset.
Sure.
I'm upset, honestly.
But the Jaguars, from their perspective, is this right here. And they put out a press release earlier this morning saying, hey, we thought about taking the Jags away for 2026 and 7, 2 full seasons. We decided not to, obviously, because we didn't want the fans to have to deal with that. We listened to our fans. So you're going to have to give us some give and take here. So while the fans are thinking we got 1 less home game, we only had 8 home games to begin with, because you got to remember it's alternating every year. You get 9 and then you get 8 and then you get 9 and then you get 8 with the 17-game schedule. We already had 8. Well, now we only have 6, where the Jags would say you're lucky you're not getting 0, and we're not in Orlando or wherever full time. The fact that we have 6 in 2026 should be a win. That's what they're going to think. That's what they're going to portray. And you should be thankful. That's the type of vibe that I'm getting here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, and if that's the vibe they want to purvey, best of luck to you. Because by my understanding, they're going to try to say, okay, we have the extra home game in London because that's going to help in terms of the stadium, to get that extra week when the process of building the new stadium and renovations and everything are underway. So that extra week is going to buy them some time.
Yes.
And theoretically, it really well might. But you mean to tell me that you can't make up that extra week someplace else in the line, that it has to be during a Jaguars home game? Like, I don't know, man. Like, here's what I think about it. I think money plays a part in this. Obviously, there's a reason why the Jaguars take part in London, and you get a higher revenue. And I think that if you want to come out and say that fans are lucky to even have home games this year, then I honestly think you're insulting the fans' intelligence, because that's not what it is. Like the plan was laid out, you know, a year back. The plan wasn't to have two home games in London. Like, this is new. And I mean, there's a couple crappy things about it, but the main thing is, and once again, this doesn't really affect us because we know what it is. The Jaguars are here to stay. They're building a new stadium for a reason.
Right.
But one could think that this is negative optics now from the national level, right? Oh, they're playing another home game. They're going to test things out. Yeah, it's not true at all. But once again, if you're Liam Cohen, like, he's the master of using national media attention in the negative and using it as a positive. There's not much you can do if you're Liam Cohen and this team to be like, oh, we're gonna show them. Like, what? You don't win two home games in London? Cool. All right.
Yeah.
We won't be able to watch them. So it's frustrating because I think there is a sense of bad optics here, and you just kind of got to eat it because there's nothing really that you can do to off-put it, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, let me read you straight from the press release that they put out this morning.
Okay.
Because again, Mark Lamping is talking to the media right now, and we will pass those notes to you as they come. But in the last hour, quote, the Jaguars initially proposed closing Everbank Stadium for 2 full seasons, 2026 and 2027, to support the opening of the stadium in the future in 2028. Local fans and businesses voiced support for an alternative 3-year renovation plan covering 2025, 26, and 7, resulting in only 2027 season being played away from Jacksonville. That right there, they're telling you you should be thankful that you only have to deal with 1 year away.
So then let me ask you this. If the whole plan is because we should be thankful, okay, obviously they need more room for renovations and everything, then why not have the other home game in Orlando? Why not try that out? Why go over the pond to London for 2 games if the renovations is really the biggest reason why you have to have 2 home games in London? Why not try it out in Orlando? See how many, almost like a trial run, see how many fans want to attend that, how many Jaguars fans want to attend that, and what the stadium looks like. Like, if this was always in the consideration and we're talking about how, well, we're actually thinking about closing the stadium down for 2 years, well, then what was the backup plan? Was it going to be London? Was it going to be Orlando? So that's why I'm confused as well, where if the big narrative is, we need some extra time, to build a stadium and get people out of the stadium, cool. Then why not have your home fan base go to Orlando and do that trial run? Or are you making more money in London? Like, it's a business. Like, that's what it is. And I'm not like trying to hate on it or anything, but like, kind of call it for what it is.
I like that idea. The trial run in Orlando, here's what I don't know. I know Camping World itself is doing that $400 million renovation to get ready for the Jaguars. I don't know what the state of that is, like if they would even be ready. Because you really don't want to have your trial run be a disaster. You would rather not do the trial run and save it for another 8 months, buy yourself another 8 months before really any game has to be played there, than give fans a taste of what it would look like in Orlando, and it's a terrible experience. And then you're really screwing yourself for trying to sell tickets at Camping World in 2027.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, and I don't know the extent of what Orlando would look like. Even if Orlando couldn't be at max capacity, could you somehow get, 70% fans, kind of like the Jaguars are doing? Could you get 70% of the fans in Camping World for that game? I mean, we'll obviously never know now. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And I'll say this much about it. I hope that the bye week then will be after the second London home game.
Right.
I think that's going to be a little care that the NFL can give the Jaguars, depending on, when these games take place. Like, you hope that these London games take place, halfway through the season, because that's the ideal time that you want to have a bye week, not super early, and probably not super late either. But like, I do hope that the bye week then comes into play after that second game in London, just because think about this, guys are going to be on like the, conditioned to the UK time.
Right.
Professional athletes are creatures of habit. So if we're talking about them being there for 2 weeks straight, playing 2 home games and everything, one would hope that you get that bye week, then coming back to acclimate once again to obviously the Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, so really where it takes us is, now that we kind of get over the fact that you only have, real quick, before I even get to there, I want to get to the opponents and take a look at who the Jags are playing, who they're hosting this fall, and potential matchups overseas and which ones you really want to have in Everbank Stadium. But before we do, this means only 6 opportunities to go see the Jaguars at home in Everbank Stadium.
I saw the press release and they said 8 because they're counting the preseason games as well, which...
Okay, that's fuzzy math.
Yeah.
That's convenient math.
How many Jaguars fans are like, whoa, we got 2 preseason games. We're all good, baby. Let's go. Yeah.
So that being said, when you look at 6 games, a lower capacity, because they did announce that number, it's 42,507. And by the way, because I know this has been a recurring question for a lot of folks over this offseason of, hey, what happens if I'm a season ticket holder in section the 400s? Like, they're obviously doing away with those seats entirely. What happens to me? So we have a little bit of information, but they pretty much said, hey, stand by. Let's see here. Season ticket renewal will be shared in the coming days. In addition, those season ticket members affected by the removal will be individually contacted. Those relocating from the 400 level will be offered preferred pricing options. In addition, the team is currently accepting new season ticket. So makes it sound like, hey, they're going to call you with an offer in the 200s for a seat that's actually available, I would think, at some kind of discount. Now, is that an actual discount? I don't know. Here's what I also don't know. 6 games. I mean, that price should be way down. But at the same time, Austin, when the supply goes down, we go from 67,000 to 42,500. Is the price actually going to go down? Because you only got 6 opportunities to sell out Everbank Stadium. You got to believe, coming off of a 13-win season, the bank will be absolutely packed, sold out every single one of those 6 games. So will the prices come down at all for those having to relocate?
Yeah, I have a hard time believing that they're really going to come down too much. I forgot what the attendance was like in 2018, but from the games that I was at, after the 17 season, Miles Jack wasn't down and everything, from the games that I was at in 18, to start the season off, then it went downhill real quickly. But I'm saying when they put in the Patriots and everything at home, attendance was booming, as it should have been, because there was a lot of hype that you might be going to watch a potential Super Bowl contender. And I think some people feel that same way, again, as they should. So I think the demand for tickets is still going to be the same, if not even more now, based off of a 13-win season. So I'm not really sure what it's going to look like in terms of trying to divvy end, tickets from the 400 section to the 200 section. And once again, I think this is why a majority of the fan base is a little frustrated with this decision, because you're coming off of a 13-win season. There is a lot of hype right now. I think people want to go see Jaguars games. You only get 6 of them, and then keep in mind, you only get 6 this up and coming year, and then the next year, you don't get any in Jacksonville, right? So it's like, there's never a great time to lose home games. There's never a great time to have to go play 2 games in London. But I think this is the most opportune time to get the most out of this stadium that you have right now, just because people, I think, are willing to go watch this team play.
Sure.
I don't know, in terms of ticket sales and revenue, where the Jaguars finished. I want to say it was in the middle half, at least, if I saw the numbers correctly. One would think, once again, even at lower capacity, that fans are going to show up and support this team because the product on the field dictates that.
Right. Yeah, all right. So, like we said, Mark Lamping talked to the media right now. Olivia Tassley saying that all the seats have been removed from the upper deck. 3 bullet points for you. Number 1, that's 1. Number 2,
okay.
The second sky bridge has been removed. And number 3, all the ramps are in process of being dismantled. Let's take a look. Here's your live look. Take a look at the seats. There are none in the upper bowl. So there's proof of that right there. You heard it from Mark Lamping. Now you're seeing it live on the Brent and Austen show. So absolutely 0 seats on the upper bowl. And this is what we do not know is if this will be the kind of look this year. Like, will it look the same? Are they going to put up tarps? Are they going to put something up there? I don't know. Maybe we'll get that answer. And then obviously the second point and third, all the ramps are in the process of being dismantled. You probably doesn't look like you can see that. There's 6 cranes up here if you're interested in that. So a lot going on. To say the least. Okay. Let's go to this right here. Here's your look at who the Jags are playing this year. Obviously, the first place schedule. You got your division opponents. And you'll play the Eagles, you'll play the Patriots, and you'll play the Steelers. Those are all first-place teams in the AFC. Okay. So now our job, or our goal, not really our job, but our goal, because it's not, we could never really iron it down. By the way, the schedule comes out, I believe, in mid-May. I believe that is. Our job is to see if we can't put the pieces together, put the puzzle together, figure out which games are going to be over in London or which games should be in London, which games would we want. If you're Liam Cohen, which games would be over there. So real quick before we get to the individual opponent, Austin, would you rather a division opponent be overseas or in a limited capacity stadium?
Good question. Depends who the division opponent is, because here's how I'm looking at it, and I'll quick break it down. People are saying they want to see the Eagles and the Steelers, or the Eagles and the Patriots, whatever the case may be, overseas because you don't want to deal with their fan base, and it's not the name of the game now isn't selling tickets, right? Like we assume that stadium. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like you assume that like the stadium will be full regardless. So we're not worried about like the opposing
What's the best
team's
game?
fan.
Yeah.
We're not worried about the opposing team's fans coming over and helping the revenue out, because the revenue is going to be just fine with limited capacity. So take that off the books then. So then what I'm looking at is, what teams do you need maybe a competitive advantage of playing at home? Now, one could say it's also a competitive advantage playing in the UK because the Jaguars are so conditioned to doing that. But I think if I'm a Jaguars player, I'm more comfortable playing at home, sleeping in my own bed, being with my family than I am in London for 2 weeks. So the way that I look at it, Hamby, honestly, is the most ideal situation for me. And even though I'm sure ticket prices do go up on the open market, if you talk about the Eagles coming to Jacksonville or the Patriots on the secondary market, I don't really care about that. So I want teams that I can either beat at home or on the road, doesn't really matter. So like, in a perfect world, man, and I get these aren't like must-watch games from a national perspective, but like the Titans and the Browns, the Titans and the Steelers, the Titans and the Commanders, I wouldn't mind seeing in the UK, just because like I don't think you need that home field advantage, in your pocket. I think when you talk about quality teams like I say quality, but like pretty solid teams like the Eagles. Pretty solid teams like the Patriots, I would much rather play them at home with my players sleeping in their own beds for maybe a little bit of a competitive advantage.
I see. There's one team that I'm 99% sure we can scratch off in London and that we know that we'll be hosting inside Everbank Stadium. That's the Commanders. Mm-hmm. The NFL said that they are hosting a game in London. Mm-hmm. So if they're playing home in London, obviously they can't be the away team when the Jags have 2. So the only thing we can confirm, I would guess, 99%, is that the Commanders will be coming to Jacksonville. We will not be playing them as the Jaguars in London. So that go ahead.
Well, and how many times have the Jaguars played a divisional opponent in London? Yeah.
Have they? I don't remember.
I don't think so. Maybe the Texans, but I can't remember. I don't know. Hopefully somebody in the chat can clear that up for us. Um, there may have been a Texans game. I don't recall the Titans. Maybe a Col. Hey, see now I'm going back and forth, but hopefully the
Yeah.
chat can help us out there, or AI can. I don't have a computer in front of me, so I can't type in anything. But yeah. So this leads me to believe like
I think they play.
watch
This says
for the
they play the Colts in 2016 in London.
okay the Colts
Mhm.
never played the Titans, ever played the Texans.
I can't. That's
Okay,
I don't
so
know.
just the Colts. Okay, yeah. So
Okay, yeah, Texans in 19.
okay, so
Appreciate
it's
the chat.
Texans and Colts. Okay, so one would lead you to believe like it could be an divisional opponent, but I would probably rally around like a team like the Steelers or the Eagles or obviously the Patriots. Like I don't
Well,
know what
Austin,
the Browns does for you.
simply
What?
by a math game, you're
Mhm.
hosting 2 games over there,
Mm-hmm.
and we already have 8 home games. Take away the Commanders, like I just said, that leaves us with 7. So by math and probability, you would guess that one of the games in London will be a divisional and one won't. Like
Hopefully,
there's 7, so if you got to split them right down the middle, 3 and 4, it's got to be pretty much 50-50.
Mhm.
So you're believing, or you're saying that since you don't have to worry about selling out the stadium. Okay, I think in order to have a take on this, you first have to determine, will there be a home field advantage in 2026 for the Jags? With the limited
Mhm.
capacity and it just being in the lower bowl, and I
Mhm.
don't think we have proof of this, will it actually be a home field advantage? I think it will be because the sound is condensed. You still got 42,000 in there. But I think that's
Keep
one of
in
your
mind with the heat too as well. If you're talking about a week 1, week 2,
of course.
in September, like it could be very toasty. And I know Brent Martineau doesn't buy into this, but I I do because I played in these games. I've watched the Tennessee Titans wilt in 2000 and I think it was 2012 where they couldn't handle the heat. Like the heat does mean something. So like yeah, if you can get Philly, New England week 1, week 2 at home, that definitely is, in my opinion, a competitive home field advantage.
Okay, so you're the NFL scheduler, or you're Liam Cohen, and let's just say whatever you say goes, which is not how it works. Obviously, we know that.
Yeah.
Which games are you taking in London, or which ones are you taking here in Jacksonville? I think that you would probably rather, and I'm going to pick one divisional and one not. I just think that's probably the math, so most
Mhm.
likely. I want the Browns over there,
Mhm.
and I want the Titans.
Sure.
I want the teams that I think that I can get by. And I
Yeah.
think it's as simple as that. Like, again, I don't care. Now, Shad Khan is probably wanting a better game over there. I don't know that to be true. I'm just like, those are your 2 worst teams on your schedule, not even just home, but home and away.
But Hamby, again, once again, let me ask you as a businessman, if you're Shad Khan, what do you need more? Do you need great on the field games that are nail biters that get people talking? Or is the goal to spread your brand because these are your home games? So you're trying to get more and more Jaguars fans in London.
Yeah.
And if you go out there and you curb stomp the Browns, you curb stomp the Titans, like, does that achieve the goal?
I mean, that's a good question.
Mhm.
I think
No, it's okay. You just call me Brent. It's all good. That's strike 1, but we're all good. Let's
all
keep it
good.
going.
No problem.
All good.
I almost morphed it into brother. I was trying.
Oh, I would have taken a brother all day, man. But yeah, it is what it is.
Well, to be honest, I don't know the answer to that. Would you gain
Mhm.
more fans if you blow a team out, or if you have a game that's really close that you win that everybody's talking about? I don't know. I would think
Yeah.
it's probably actually option 2. If more people are talking about it, it's a thrilling game. You win, in a late touchdown or whatever. You're probably
Yeah.
gaining more attention than
But
if you
yeah.
beat a team 30-10.
But see, my worry though is this MB as well. And like I've never got to play in London, so I'm not really sure how it works when it can come off a certain way on TV. But like say you play the Patriots in London. I would probably like to believe like the Patriots, a very historic franchise, a dynasty, if you will. Everyone knows who Tom Brady is. Like, what is what is that crowd going to be like for the Patriots Jaguars game? And I get you're going to see jerseys from all NFL team, right? But I feel like see, to me, like the Patriots would be like Man City is in soccer, where it's like you may not be a fan, but you know the brand, and if they come to town, you're probably going to cheer for them, right? Or at least like, have a little respect for them. So like I don't know if I want like storied teams like the Patriots, recent winners like the Eagles to go against. I would much rather have teams that I feel like I could just, show up and beat. Like, how many people are in London going to be cheering for the Browns? How many people in London are going to be cheering for the Titans? Even if they're at the, probably not that many. So once again, I'm not the businessman, right? My tax bracket's a little lower than Shad Khan's is. But I would think that if I'm playing teams like the Titans and the Browns, that almost gives you an advantage because now I feel like that whole stadium and that whole city can maybe gravitate towards the team that they're supposed to gravitate towards, and that's the home team of the game.
Yeah, I don't know this to be true, but I feel like the Eagles have at least one game somewhere crazy internationally. So I would be surprised if they were also. But I'm not sure. I know they had Sao Paulo last year against the Packers to start the season. I don't know if they're going international again this year. Okay, game on the schedule that you most want to be in, if you can only have one, and you get 6, but you only get one, and don't go divisional. Which one's the most important to be in Jacksonville?
The most important game to be in Jacksonville, and we're not talking about the divisional opponents.
Maybe not. Let's just not say most important. Let's just say biggest.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, to me, and I get like the Eagles carry a lot of weight still, even though, that division could be a little more up for grabs this year, but I still think it's the Eagles division, the NFC. But like, it's got to be the Patriots. It's got to be the team, regardless of what the schedule looked like last year. And it was the easy schedule. They were the toast of the AFC. They played in the Super Bowl. They had an MVP candidate more than even Trevor Lawrence was. They had the coach of the year, Mike Vrabel, over Liam Cohen. So to me, the biggest game at home is the Patriots. Now, I think the Eagles might be a tougher game and a tougher team than even the Patriots. But just talking about your conference and everything, it's got to be the Patriots. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's. I think the Steelers would be fun, even though you don't even know who their quarterback is, and
you just don't know what you're getting with the Steelers.
You have no idea. But
how's their coach going to do?
Yeah, you have no idea. That would be interesting. Yeah, I do feel like the answer is the Patriots, just because. You wanted to play them so bad, and watching them win in the playoffs, like there's almost this pseudo rivalry with the Patriots, even though the Jags haven't played them in forever. Like they didn't play them, but it almost felt like the jealousy of, we could have beat them.
We would have took the Chargers. We would have took the Texans. You guys could have had the Bills and see what happens with Josh Allen playing out of his mind, right? Yeah. Like every Jaguars fan is going through that. There's no Jaguars fan that's like, all right, let's see how we can stack up to the Eagles, who kind of feel like a powder keg. Well, it might be their year, or they might just combust now. We'll see what happens with A.J. Brown and everything. So, yeah, I think the answer here, and if you're talking about like a non-divisional opponent, because obviously the Texans game will be huge as well. But yeah, to me, it's the Patriots all day.
Okay, so we're going to take a break, but when we come back, there's more from Lamping notes on how having 2 games in London impacts how many we play over there next year and in 2030 with the requirement for the NFL on how many games you have to play internationally. Will that be fulfilled this year? All that good stuff. So a lot of stuff coming out of that, and we'll go around the NFL as well, and maybe a quick to the NBA also with maybe LeBron, some awkwardness with Luka. That's always fun. We'll be right back on the Brent Austin Show.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Hi, I'm Greg Mackey from Cycles of Jacksonville. Whether you're looking for a side-by-side, ATV, motorcycle, or scooter, Honda has what you need.
The Honda Talon. Ultimate performance meets family-friendly fun. Prices starting at $363 a month. Or the sporty Honda CBR 650 starting at an affordable $204 a month.
Stop by and choose your adventure from a full line of Honda products. Only at Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard. Family owned and operated since 1983.
Hello, I'm Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Since 2003, our firm has fought exclusively for the rights of men in family law. Divorce, modification of child support, alimony, custody, and more, all for men. A father is vitally important to a child's life, and being a man is not a reason to pay more in child support or alimony. I'm a single father. I get it. If you have a divorce or other family law issue, contact Kenny Lay & Associates at divorcemenonly.com.
Welcome inside the Armor Guard exterior and gutter helmet showroom. There's a lot going on, like glass exteriors, replacement windows, and down there we have the retractable screens and awnings, plus hurricane protection. Let's talk more about those gutters, and to do that, we bring in Kevin. He's the owner, he's the expert. Why Gutter Helmet?
Well, Gutter Helmet's truly the only maintenance-free product. It lets the trash and debris go on the ground, the water wraps around and goes inside. Unlike filters, they sit on top of the gutters, and the trash and debris build up on top of filters, which requires maintenance. With Gutter Helmet, we're going to keep you off the ladder, the most dangerous thing in your garage. With Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. So get off the ladder and put on the helmet. Gutter Helmet.
Get a free estimate at gutterhelmetofnorthflorida.com. You can also call 904-762-7779 or visit the showroom on St. John's Bluff Road in Jacksonville.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to easily access Action News Jax Now using your Roku device. First, launch Roku. Next, use the menu list to scroll down to the search feature. Then, use the remote to enter Action News Jax into the search bar, and then click Action News Jax thumbnail. Once you see this screen, go ahead and select Add App. Wait a few seconds for it to install. Once it finishes installing, press the star button on your remote and click on Move App or Move App to the top. Finally, select the app back on your home screen to open it. Now you can watch all the great content on Action News Jax Now. Live daily breaking news.
We have breaking news happening right now in Clay County.
First alert weather and traffic.
Looks like we have a tornado warning. Let's take a look at that.
Action Sports Jax 24/7.
We've got the Brent and Austen Show daily, live sporting events, and long-form interviews you can't see anywhere else.
And shows like Law and Crime and much more. And that's how you access Action News Jax Now using your Roku device.
Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, home of the NFL Combine. As you know, we will go there in a little bit over an hour to talk to Mia O'Brien with what she's hearing, news and notes out of the NFL Combine. Guys will start to get out on the grass and do their drills, I believe, tomorrow because it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. We will wait to see all that comes out from Indianapolis as we welcome you back. Hamby, Austen, more notes out of Mark Lamping's presser that is wrapping up right now. Still no confirmation on the 2027 destination of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He did not confirm Orlando. We know that it all but is Orlando. But he did say that the expectation is that the NFL will approve the destination, Orlando, next month in the upcoming owners' meetings in Arizona. That is about 4 weeks away. But we will finally have full confirmation of the Jags playing in Orlando in 27 when that comes in about a month.
Any talk about how many away games next year?
Beautiful.
For London?
Phenomenal question. So that's kind of where the conversation has gone on social media, is because there was an agreement that there could be 6 total London games over the next 3 years, including last year. So 1 last year, 2 this year. That leaves a possibility, keyword possibility, of 3 next year. That's home games. So there's also a possibility of you adding an away game there. Very unlikely, I would think, but it is a possibility that there would be 4 Jaguar games in London in 2027. With that being said, and then I'll let you go.
Sure.
You have to imagine, guys, by the dollars and cents here, if Orlando is doing $400 million of renovations to make way for the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're going to fight tooth and nail to keep as many home games in Orlando next year and not do this 3 home games there.
Yeah. So this stems from a while back, but rumblings. Let's just call them rumblings.
Okay, I like it. Rumblings.
Things that I've heard is the NFL still wants to get a sample size if they can theoretically have a team in London.
I hear you.
Like they want to see if they can do this. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, not this up and coming year, but the following year, could be a team that could give them the proper sample size of, could you do a team in London? And by meaning, you can spend 4, 5, 6 games over there in London to see how it goes. Now, you know how I feel about this. I think it's asinine. I think it's stupid to have a team full-time in London. I don't think it's going to work in terms of traveling, in terms of trying to get free agents, in terms of like talking players to even get drafted by that team. Like, I don't think it works. But the NFL doesn't operate like that. The NFL doesn't operate necessarily on what's best for players, recovery, health, all that stuff. You can go ahead and say it's the top priority, but is it really when you're adding a 17-game season, maybe an 18-game season down the line? I'm not sure. So to me, the Jaguars are the team that the people in London can go, okay, let's truly get a sample size and let's see how this works. I hope that's not the case, but once again, just rumblings.
So you want as many games in Orlando as physically possible?
Well, without a doubt, yeah. I don't want to have half the season in the UK. And once again, it's not hating on will I go watch every single game in London? Well, probably not, because I have to do the pregame show. It's gonna be hard to do the pregame show and then quick go drive my ass to London. So it's not about me selfishly wanting to watch Jaguars games, because I probably won't be able to watch a lot of them. To me, it's more about, once again, just the competitive advantage, right? And I think when you talk about what the competitive advantage is, I think sleeping in your own bed, or at least close to your own bed, being with your family, gives you a much more competitive advantage as a creature of habit than spending half the season in the UK on a different schedule in a different bed, all this stuff.
Yeah. One more note before I do want to get to all the stuff that we were planning on talking about before we got this announcement.
Yeah, you good, man?
Just because the Jags are playing 2 there, and you kind of mentioned this in the first 15, 20 minutes, they're playing 2 there. They could potentially play 3 or 4 there next year.
They could, because they can play away games as well. Yes.
Right. So the rest of the NFL, especially fans and people in the league who have been treating the Jags like a punching bag for who knows how long, obviously they're going to take this and run with it.
Without a doubt.
Don't fall for that. This is totally separate. If the Jags didn't have a new stadium contract that is actually keeping them here for decades into the future, this would never be the case. This is only happening because of the construction. I know everybody knows that, but yet still I'm going to look on Twitter and I'm going to look on social media, and Jags fans are going to fall for rage bait when people are like, see, told you they always wanted to be in London. They don't deserve to be in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I mean, but yeah, that's no, of course, man, but that's the way of the world, Hamby. Like, and once again, one of the many reasons you don't find me on social media a lot, because a lot of it is just BS, because we all know what's coming, right? Like, we can write the script, and like I opened the show with, it sucks because if you're Liam Cohen, like, there's not much you can do to motivate your players with what national media is saying. Oh, right. They're saying that we're going to play in London a couple more games. We'll show them. We'll win the games, but yeah, we're playing in London. Like, there's nothing you can do, right? So you just roll with the punches. You roll with the idiocracy of the national media. Oh, it's going to be the London Jaguars and everything. Just roll with it. It is what it is. Let them get their clicks. Let them get their low-hanging fruit off. But at the end of the day, that's not the case. We all know that. They're building a stadium for a reason. You don't build a brand new stadium, introduce it in a couple years, and then go, okay, well, I guess we're just going to host like Taylor Swift shows and Beyonce shows now because the Jaguars aren't playing there anymore because the Jaguars are going to be a team in London. Like, it's not how it works.
Yeah. All right. We will have more on Lamping and the stadium in London as we continue to go throughout the show today. We'll have a question when Marcel Robinson comes around about, hey, if you're a fan, would you rather this be the year that you finally go to London when it is limited capacity in Jacksonville, or totally vice versa? We'll have that thought. But I do want to...
Real quick, Andy, it is just, how crazy is it, though? Like, the window is now, right?
Absolutely.
Like, the window is now.
You will never go to London once the new stadium is open.
Of course, but
I don't know why you would. I'll say it that way. I'm sure somebody will.
You have a team of the Texans who obviously they're going to be competing as well for a division. We'll see with CJ Stroud if he's going to, and please pay that man. Yeah, go ahead and pay him. Do it, Houston. Pay him. Pay your franchise quarterback top 5 money, please. But you have the Titans right now where we kind of know what they are. The Colts still need a quarterback. People are talking about maybe re-signing Daniel Jones. Best of luck with that. Next time he's got a broken leg, let's not let that leg fall off. But it seems like the window is now, and hopefully it's going to be open for a long time, right? It just sucks, though, that the window being open now, and it's like the window is open, but the house is changing. Right, like we're talking about the window being open, but it's like, man, we're gonna change residencies here in a little bit, and that's not the ideal thing. And once again, we credited so much on Liam Cohen last year. His first go around as a head coach, did a lot of things that we didn't expect him to do. Went on prime time, went on the West Coast, win a division, all this stuff. Well, now he's going to come into a new thing where it's going to be a lot of the new things as well, right? Because now he's got to handle with a stadium at lower capacity. Now he's got to handle another home game in London. And then in 2 years, he's got to handle not playing in that stadium as well. So it's almost like it's his first go-around for 3 years in a row because it's going to be so different. And just like I say that players are creatures of habit, guess what? Even more are coaches. And when you take away those habits, what do you get? So I'm very curious to see how Liam Cohen's going to handle this year, but then more importantly, the following season, because there's going to be a lot of changes going on, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how he adapts to those changes.
Absolutely
Sorry,
love it.
that was a long rant. Go
love
ahead.
Love it. Okay, so here's the open floor. You had a lot of things that you were ready to come to the table with. We got you for 15 more minutes. Take us where you want to take us.
Oh, take us where I want to take us, man. I mean, so I think we're going to have Mia O'Brien coming in a little bit, talk about the combine, right?
Yes.
So do you want to talk about the combine real quick, Hamby, or do you want to save that for tomorrow when I'm in studio? We can talk about it. I mean, I'm down for whatever, man. You know me. You're driving the show right now.
Look, I mean, I got a text from you earlier this morning and I saw the word State of the Union. So I was interested what you'd have to say.
That probably is more topical right now. That's not really an evergreen topic, is it? Yeah, man. Listen, and we're not getting political on this show.
Don't worry, guys.
I'll throw jabs every once in a while about it, but we're not getting political. But obviously, the State of the Union address was last night, and I'll take this much about it. As in any State of the Union, any State of the franchise address, the whole goal is to purvey the fact that everything's fine. Don't worry about us. We got it under control, right? Just like when you're home alone for the first time, mom's out of town, maybe you're throwing a party, right? Mom calls you unexpectedly. Everything's fine. Nothing's getting burned down. There's nobody over here. That's just noise in the background on the TV, Ma. I don't know what you're talking about. There's no Project X party going on right now at the Lane residence. We're all good. Have a safe flight. Click, right? So, like, that's what it is. You're trying to calm everybody down. We're all good. Everything's gravy. So, once again, that happened last night as I was watching a little bit. But it got me on the topic a little bit. If you could have one professional or college team, doesn't matter, do a state of the franchise address saying, it's all good. Here's the plan. We're all gravy. Everybody just calm down a little bit. What team would you want to see the most? Because it would be so damn entertaining.
Yeah, this is going to be recency bias to a T.
Sure.
But my answer is so obvious. And to me, it is UCLA men's basketball coach Mick Cronin. That video was so unbelievably funny. If you were watching last Wednesday, Thursday it was, I played it 10 times in a row. It gets better every time. Every time there's a you are. Are you raising your voice at me, sir? Come on, dude. Austin, that had to have been a 4-minute interview. If we get Mick Cronin for an hour and 50 minutes, and people in the I don't even know what you call it, audience, which is not an audience, but I don't know what the government term is, are yelling. Like if you watched last night, all the Democrats are rightfully so shouting at Trump. When there's a Democratic president, it's the same for the. That's what it does.
This is what it
every
is.
year.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yes. This is politics.
Dude, if you give people an opportunity to yell at Mick Cronin, you know how many people he's going to ask if they're raising his voice? If they're raising their voice? Yeah. Dude, that would be unbelievable fireworks. I would record it. I would record it.
See, that's wild because I had no idea you were taking there. Like I figured Stadium Pulse, maybe a college football team that's been kind of down in the dumps forever. But no, that's a good one just based off of recency bias. For me, man, and I get it. It's one of the obvious choices. It's the low-hanging fruit, but it's entertaining nonetheless. And I'm sure they already do a state of the franchise, but like I mean like a real in-depth talking to your true fan base to be like, hey, we're going to turn this around. It's all good. It's the Cleveland Browns. Because, like, imagine being a Cleveland Browns fan for how long? And, like, first you got to start off with, like, it's what, like, I mean, you there's a brand new head coach, right? So he's got to come in. He's got to set expectations. And then it's almost like you're doing the State of the Union address from a Great Depression, where it's like, yeah, we're in a depression right now, but hey, we got Shedeur Sanders, maybe, but we might not be starting him. So we'll see with that. What else do we got? Hey, Quinton Judkins, that was a good. Well, his leg almost fell off, but like that when he comes back, that's gonna be really great. So that'll be cool. What else do we got going on? Hey, someone say new uniforms because we might be throwing some kind of throwback alternatives going on for the dog pound out there. Woof woof. There we go. What else we got? Yeah, right. So like, I would love to see how that goes. Now, like, I guess the benefit is like, well, hey, you want to talk smack about us, but if you look at the people across from us, you know, the whatever you want to call them, but people across from us, Baltimore, they're in the dumps right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got Pittsburgh, they're in the dumps right now. Cincinnati can't stay healthy. Like, this is our year, something like that, right? So
yeah, he's touting Todd Monken like a new bill coming down.
Yeah,
the legislation.
Yeah. So I would love to see how the Cleveland Browns would handle the State of the Union address because their poor fans, I feel like, have been in the depression now for the past decade. Set aside from the Joe Flacco miracle run when he led them to the playoffs
and beat the Jags.
No comment.
Sure.
Yeah.
I love that answer. Obviously,
any other teams, Hamby?
I mean, Jerry Jones is always entertaining.
True.
Pagula is kind of like a new up and coming, dark horse to be nominated for this, given what he said. That's obviously the Bills owner. This past offseason with the Josh Allen stuff, kind of stuck his foot in his mouth at least once or twice.
Hamby, let me ask you this one. What
Woody
about
Johnson?
What about for baseball, the Pittsburgh Pirates?
Oh, dude, I've got some Pirates notes that I was planning on sharing in the 11 o'clock hour. I mean, it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you have this guy in Paul Skeens who's like the best pitcher going right now. You got all the hype with, Livy Dunn, and you guys can't get out of your own way and not finish last place in a division every single year.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
It's unreal. I think there would be good ones in basketball as well.
Sure.
I mean, but hey, we don't talk
Pelicans. Yeah, we're just here. No one really knows what we're doing, but like we're trying. There's some teams that's just like we don't. But I think like the Dallas Mavericks would be a good one. Like, what is your plan? Yeah, yeah. There's some possibilities out there.
Yeah, we don't talk presidential State of the Unions often. So while we're doing that, let me get your thoughts on this Connor Hellebuck Award, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Kind of a cool thing, but also like. I kind of was looking down the list of other dudes, and men and women, who have won the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and it's like Ernie Banks, Jackie Robinson, Muhammad Ali, and
I
really, really pumped for Hellebuck because it was a huge save in an unbelievable game. But it's like legacy of like these guys have full careers and all this stuff, and then it's like, oh. Some dude I'd never heard of had an unbelievable game and won U.S. A gold medal.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know, man. It's such a because I go back and forth with this. Like, if you ever watch hockey, or if you know the intricacies of hockey, which I know a little bit about it, like there's the team, but then there's the goalie. Like, there's a reason when the game is over and you win, you always go up to the goalie first. There's a reason why if a guy gets in the crease and an opponent gets in the crease, you go after him and you push him if he's close to the goalie, right? Like, there's hockey players, there's wings, there's centers, there's defensemen, and then, like, there's another category of just being the goalie. And the goalie gets all the love. And, yeah, Hellebuck won them that game. But it just wasn't him, though, as well. Right, like you talk about Hughes picking up teeth off the ice and then scoring like the overtime. Like there's a lot of guys that I feel like that should have been considered for it. So like if it was me and I'm Donald Trump, I probably would have awarded it to the entire team because it is a team game, right? And when you talk about a team game of representing your country, I think you set a precedent by saying, hey, this was a great game. They probably weren't supposed to win it. There's plenty of plays that we can pick apart that's why they won the game, not just from brilliant goaltending, which it was. I would have given the entire team the award as opposed to just one player.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But also, like, make it like, from the Secretary of Defense or something, right? Because you have to like make it like, he didn't let anything go in, right? Something like that.
All right, I want to finish our time with you today on what I wish I could have got your thoughts on yesterday. Yesterday, as it was coming down the track in the 10 o'clock hour, we talked a lot about it in the 11 right after you left.
Sure.
There are things, Austen, that maybe our viewers don't care all that much about, but that are mandatory topics.
Anime.
One of those.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Is Kirk Cousins.
Oh God. Yep.
The new GM of the Atlanta Falcons, Ian Cunningham, who obviously just came over from the Chicago Bears, says they plan to release Kirk next month or in the next coming weeks. So that got me thinking. We had Brent, golly, you got to be kidding me.
You're all good. That's strike two. You got about 3 minutes left,
right,
or else I'm walking
here.
off.
Hold on strong here. Here we go.
Yep.
My bad.
You're good. No, hey, I understand that I'm being very professional today, so you get me confused with Brent.
You are.
Yeah. Thanks for noticing.
We actually had the conversation because of me, of course.
Obviously.
Would you like the Jaguars to go put out a feeler to bring in Kirk Cousins as a backup?
Relax.
I'm not going to ask you that. Because I don't, I
think you know my answer.
We've had a great hour. I've really enjoyed it. I don't want to ruin your day.
I mean, I'm just saying, if that was the case and that's where we're going, Hamby, I would call my MMA coach and be like, hey, I'm going to be about an hour late. I got something came up. I'll see you guys maybe next week. I just got to go to Jacksonville real quick. Thanks for the effort and energy and the game plan for my fight March 21st, taking place in the O2 Arena in the UK, by the way. That's right. I got to skip out early because we're talking about Kirk Cousins. Go ahead. What do you got?
So I have to get your take on Kirk Cousins. I'm just not going to make you do it about the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Vikings yesterday said that all options are on the table.
Yeah.
Should we see a reunion in Minnesota with how bad J.J. McCarthy's rookie season was?
So there has to, So the Vikings saying everything's on the table as it should be. Especially when you have arguably the best wide receiver in the league kind of being fed up about it a little bit. And you have an offensive guy who needs a quarterback to be successful as a head coach in Kevin O'Connell. If it came at the right price, Hamby, right? It can't come at the Atlanta Falcons price. No way in hell, right? Because he hasn't shown enough on the Falcons that makes you think, you know what, this is our starting quarterback going forward. I think he's shown you enough where we can get a dependable backup if you wanted to make some sense of him in Jacksonville. But as a starter, it would have to come at a discount. And then as a starter, I would say there has to be a training camp battle. So if he comes at a discount, you want to put him through training camp, he balls out, then by all means, make him the starter. But and what teams need quarterbacks here? The Vikings, maybe the Dolphins. Oh, I guess, I think the Dolphins are kind of, they could obviously re-sign somebody too. They're like, unless I'm extremely desperate, like the Vikings might be, I'm still not going to look at Kirk Cousins saying, okay, we're going to sign him and this is our starter day one. I think there has to be a training camp battle. If you're looking at Minnesota, what some other options could be, Kyler Murray. I don't know if you want to split the Tua Tagovailoa bill, and I don't know if you really trust him enough. I'm also with that. Like, I look at Kyler Murray, and I get he doesn't get a lot of love, but the last time I felt like DeAndre Hopkins was truly relevant was on the Cardinals with Kyler Murray. And if you have a guy in Justin Jefferson that needs to be relevant, maybe Kyler Murray can get him there.
I like it. All right, Austen.
All right, man. We'll see you tomorrow in studio. 2 strikes, not too bad. And then we ended up gaining a strike back because I got to end the show with Kyler Murray because you know how much I love him. How's Daniel Jones doing? I guess he's still going through rehab, but we'll see if the Colts are going to bring him back or not, man. But enjoy the rest of the show. Stay casual, and we'll see you tomorrow live and in living color.
All right. That's Later. Austen Lane going to go fight and train for his upcoming fight March 21st. When we come back, did you watch the documentary? I did. Got some thoughts on it, and we will hear from someone very involved in the making and producing of it. Jags, Chargers, comeback for the ages. That's ahead. Also, we're going to get to the chat. The chat thoughts on London, more thoughts from and news and notes from Lamping's press conference that has since wrapped up. That, and we also go to Indy. That's ahead. Brent and Austen show on a Wednesday. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us.
Nimnicht is synonymous with Jacksonville, and now in 2026, Nimnicht is celebrating 85 years of partnerships with you. Longevity equals trust, and you want a car dealership you can trust. Thousands of vehicles sold, generations of families, all part of the Nimnicht family of dealerships. My family has been part of the Nimnicht family for almost 20 of those 85 years, and I've told you about all the different vehicles that we've purchased. But it's not about the cars and the trucks. It's about the service and also the Nimnicht relationships that expand all around the community.
Congratulations to Jordan Matthews, our committed to the uncommitted player of the year.
Nobody but Nimnicht. They are there for you and your causes, your car buying experience, and they are there for you 24 hours a day at NimnichtBuickGMC.com. Experience professional grade with big inventory and even bigger savings. And Jacksonville's only Car Bravo certified dealership. Nobody but Nimnicht for 85 years. This milestone belongs to you, Jacksonville.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jags PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
It's been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit JagsPal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jags PAL.
Welcome inside the Armor Guard exterior and gutter helmet showroom. There's a lot going on, like glass exteriors, replacement windows, and down there we have the retractable screens and awnings, plus hurricane protection. Let's talk more about those gutters, and to do that, we bring in Kevin. He's the owner, he's the expert. Why Gutter Helmet?
Well, Gutter Helmet is truly the only maintenance-free product. It lets the trash and debris go on the ground, the water wraps around and goes inside. Unlike filters, they sit on top of the gutters, and the trash and debris build up on top of filters, which requires maintenance. With Gutter Helmet, we're going to keep you off the ladder, the most dangerous thing in your garage. With Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. So get off the ladder and put on the helmet. Gutter Helmet.
Get a free estimate at gutterhelmetofnorthflorida.com. You can also call 904-762-7779 or visit the showroom on St. John's Bluff Road in Jacksonville.
Hi, I'm Greg Mackey from Cycles of Jacksonville. Whether you're looking for a side-by-side, ATV, motorcycle, or scooter, Honda has what you need.
The Honda Talon. Ultimate performance meets family-friendly fun. Prices starting at $363 a month. Or the sporty Honda CBR 650 starting at an affordable $204 a month.
Stop by and choose your adventure from a full line of Honda products. Only at Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard. Family owned and operated since 1983.
Hello, I'm Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Since 2003, our firm has fought exclusively for the rights of men in family law. Divorce, modification of child support, alimony, custody, and more, all for men. A father is vitally important to a child's life, and being a man is not a reason to pay more in child support or alimony. I'm a single father. I get it. If you have a divorce or other family law issue, contact Kenny Lay & Associates at divorcemenonly.com.
CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing is taking their 75-plus years of expertise and expanding to CGC Home Services. Water treatment and plumbing is still a big part of what they do, and now they can do even more for you. Home services like kitchen and bathroom remodeling, showers, sinks, faucets, toilet repair, backflow testing, and the list keeps going. Find all they can do at cgchomeservices.com or give them a call, 904-298-7052. It's a new look and a new name with the same expertise. They've been serving homes like yours since 1946. CGC Home Services, right here in Jacksonville off St. John's Bluff Road, 904-298-7052. And visit cgchomeservices.com. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Back on the Brent and Austin Show. Appreciate everybody hanging out with me today. Brent up in Boston. We will hear from him in just a little bit. Me, O'Brien as well in Indy, and Marcel Robinson stops by. But I'm with you right now. It's Jason Hamby. And we're talking about the comeback the Jacksonville Jaguars had against the LA Chargers. And the documentary that was put out last night. We're going to try and hear from somebody very involved with the making and production of that in just a minute. But quick thoughts I watched last night. Thought it was very well done. Brent obviously is in it and offered his insight on the game times. Me, O'Brien in it as well. And JP Shadrick as well. Peterson, Trevor, Josh Hines Allen, ETN. They also got Asante Samuel. He was Lone Ranger from the Chargers side of things. So I enjoyed it. I thought the one thing that I thought they did was really cool is after every Charger score, specifically, obviously in the first half when everything was going so wrong, they had the win probability at the bottom of the screen. And they were showing, little by little, they're going down and down, down. It was brutal. It was brutal. And at one point, obviously, it's 27-0, and it's 99.4, I believe, % likelihood that the Chargers win the game. And it just kind of takes you back. Obviously, that's the whole point of documentaries, is take you back to that moment. What were you thinking? And gosh, how brutal it was that you finally get to the playoffs with Trevor, and it looks like it's going to be flop of all time. Just the biggest flop of all time. And, you're going to be the laughing stock of the NFL. And not only that, I think this is what they did a really good job of hinting at and portraying last night. And I want to, if you're listening, go back to when it's 23 or 24-0, when Trevor's thrown 4 picks. It was actually beyond. There was more to it than just the fact that this could be a laughing stock situation, punching bag situation. Because that's temporal. I mean, you're almost used to that. The bigger deal was, could this scar Trevor Lawrence legitimately for years to come? Like, for the rest of his career. If you throw 4, 5, 6 picks in a game and there's no good, I mean, that could be wraps. Like, that could legitimately be wraps for your career. So, as brutal as it was, the rebound there was incredible. It was incredible. So, again, we are close to getting in Pete Haggerty in from Vice, who put the documentary out last night. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to go back and watch it. It was a good watch. But we might have to pivot here. I don't believe, Pete, if you can hear me, your mic is muted. But we'll get there shortly. With that being said, let's pivot. And let's talk a little baseball. Real quick, you guys got to oblige me. Y'all know y'all got to oblige me every once in a while when I have an opportunity here. Spring training, obviously, going on. And we're trying to pull some headlines. If you haven't watched at all, well, the Braves play the Pirates today. They got Skeens. And it's actually ironic that Austin brings up Skeens in our time yesterday, or excuse me, in the last hour, just a few minutes ago. The Braves and Pirates will play today, so Skeens, I mean, anytime he's on the mound, I feel like it's must watch. Legitimately must watch. So if you're interested, that would be a good one to check out today. Olsen hit one out of the stadium yesterday. That's always fun to see. They also have, the Pirates also have this rookie. His name, I think it's Griffin or something like that. It's supposed to be their number one prospect. He hit 2 bombs yesterday. Is supposed to be their next up-and-coming guy, which kind of goes back to the point Austin was making. Hey, like, you signed Marcell Ozuna. You got this young up-and-coming kid. You still got O'Neal Cruz and Brian Reynolds and some pieces. You actually have a really good rotation outside of Skeens, but obviously Skeens is the headliner. Like, you could legitimately be a contender in the Central. Cardinals are going to be bad this year. You know, the Brewers, who knows? The Brewers, who knows? Austin's going to, I mean, they do it every year. They're not supposed to be good, and they are. But at some point, you would think that's going to bite them. Is that this year? I don't know. They just got rid of Freddie Peralta. I think that moves the needle for me, at least. And then the Reds are the Reds. The Reds are very probably middle of the pack. It feels like they win 77 games every single year. What it feels like. So outside of the Cubs, the division is still open. So why don't you go and really try and go for it? Well, did they kind of signing Marcell Ozuna to a 1-year deal? I don't know. I'm not going to bore you with Pirates baseball talk. You can get that somewhere else. But let me, Marcell Ozuna, if you don't know, is at this point in his career he's one of the most unathletic players in professional baseball. It just is what it is. Like, the guy can barely get to second base. With the hit, I mean, he hasn't played the field, y'all, in legitimately 5 years. Like, he's been a full-time DH for 5 years. Well, he just signed a new contract with Pittsburgh, and this is one of the best things I've ever seen. They put in his clause, because y'all know how they do incentives. Marcell Ozuna has a $50,000 incentive if he wins a Gold Glove. Hey, Pirates. Where? They don't give a Gold Glove for a DH. The guy hasn't played the field in 5 years. And let me tell you, if Marcell Ozuna at this point in his career is ever playing a position, you have way bigger problems. You have way bigger problems. So I thought that was insane. $50,000 incentive for Mr. Marcell Ozuna to win a Gold Glove. And trust me, he will probably play absolutely 0 innings in the field this year. One other baseball note for you. The ABS system. It's going to continually be a big story. Obviously, it's when anything happens in Major League Baseball, because they're a league that is so hesitant, patient to pivot. Whenever they do make a change, it's big. Just like with the pitch clock last year. And the bases and all that stuff, the pickoffs, all that good stuff, the pace of play. Well, they did all that work with pace of play. And already in a handful of spring training games, we're seeing the effects of the ABS system. Ball and strike challenge, for those of you who are unfamiliar, slows the game down a decent bit. Now, it's not a ton, but it takes about 10, 15 seconds because the umpire has to get out from behind plate and say the batter is challenging the ruling on the field, which was ball or strike. And then they got to wait for the thing to come on video, on the board, and all that good stuff. It takes about 10, 15 seconds. Well, if the umpire's good, there's no lack. There's no problem with the whole pace of play. But speaking of the Pirates, they played the Red Sox yesterday, and I got to be honest, y'all. I felt bad a little bit for the home plate umpire. I felt bad for him because I don't know him. I mean, if this is freaking Phil Cuzzy or Wendelstedt or one of those dudes or CB Bucks, I don't feel bad for those guys. They rely on their tenure, and they're not very good, and they have huge egos and all of that stuff. Is it bad that I could probably name 30 big league umpires right now? Yes. Okay, I'm not dodging that. That being said, I don't know this guy. His name was Mitch Tresiak. Mitch Tresiak was horrific yesterday. Horrific. I mean, to the point where, guys, 6 pitches were challenged in the span of 3.5 innings. He missed the first 5. 3 of them weren't close. Like, immediately. We're tapping on the head. Catcher was challenging. Hitter was challenging. It wasn't going one way. It was just all around bad. Bad. And you know it's bad, guys, when on the 6th one, hitter challenged, the umpire actually ended up being right. Got a standing ovation from the crowd. Like, tongue-in-cheek, hey, you finally got one, bro. Nice job. And when that happens, you had to be pretty bad. Not just pretty bad, I should say. Really, really bad. I mean, 5 in a row. Guys, you don't get 5 challenges. You only obviously get to keep them and continue challenging if you're right. Which, again, goes to show how many he missed. That being said, I'm afraid, as much as I will like this because the right calls are being made and my team's not getting screwed with bases loaded, and we get a 3-2, we get punched out and whatever, I'm going to miss a lot of ejections. Like, Aaron Boone, first of all, is going to keep a lot more of his money, but we're not going to get a lot of ejections. And to me, that sucks. I love seeing managers get kicked. I love seeing them get run. And seriously, like, if we get ABS system correcting all these calls, like, what are guys going to get thrown out for? Your occasional foul ball, was it tipped, was it not? Drop third, can't challenge it. Why can't we challenge it? You're gone. Okay. Your occasional, Matt Olson got kicked out of a game, or Snitker got kicked out of a game last year because Matt Olson hit a sky-high pop fly, didn't move out of the way, and the catcher ran right into him, and he's called automatic out when the catcher dropped the foul ball. Snitker didn't like it, got ran. Yeah, that happens once a year per team, something like that. Boone used to get kicked out every week. And that brings me to my next point. Y'all know I love John Boy. If you're not familiar with him, he's the dude that goes back and does all the lip readings for guys that get ejected and all the funny stuff that happens in baseball. He'll be out of a job. Not really, because he does a ton outside of just those videos, but that's his main source of income, y'all. And I love him. Like, the post notifications are on. The bell is checked. Like, I'm getting a noti, and I'm going to pause whatever I'm doing if I'm not at work. I can to go watch the new John Boy video when you name an umpire gets ran because he's arguing balls and strikes. I want to see the lip reading. What are we going to have? 10% of that? Our ejections are going to be down 90%. That's brutal. So, I mean, I guess it is what it is. But maybe you're not like me. Maybe you just want the calls to be right and you don't care about ejections. Okay, well, why can't I have both? Well, I can. I know that. But it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, I want to get to the chat. The chat's been lively today, obviously, with the news of the Jaguars playing 2 games in London. So let's see what you guys are saying. We asked which games you want to see in London. A lot of people said Browns and Commanders which we noted that the Commanders are probably like 99% sure will not be them because they are playing in London. That's where a lot of people went wrong, but it's a home game. So they obviously cannot play away. If the Jags are also home, those two things don't marry. YB400 said keep Patriots, Steelers, and Eagles at the crib. I'm with you. Kilkenny says the NFL has released the Jaguars and Commanders will be able to be playing in London. Okay, yeah. So don't go wrong with that. It won't be the Commanders. YB400 says we've never played a rival in London. I think you're right on that. Logan Rivers, decent point here. We played the Eagles in London a few years back. There's no way we play them there again, right? And I'd say it's a great point. I would assume that since the Jaguars played, what was that, 3-4 years ago? I mean, it wasn't that long ago. That the Jaguars wouldn't have to worry about playing the Eagles, which is good. We want them, that Eagles game, to stay here if at all possible. Let's see, what else we got in the chat? William Torres just now says 15% construction complete is a big deal. Moving along better than I expected. All right. I mean, I don't know exactly what the timeline is here, but as long as they say they're ahead of schedule, that's good for me. I know they said they were going to be above budget, which is probably all expect. I don't know how big of a deal that is to the fan. Maybe the taxpayer is a different deal, but all that money is being fronted, I believe, by the team, anything that goes over. With that being said, let's bring in somebody who knows a lot more about that side of it than I do. Let's bring in Action News Jax, Jake Stofan. Joining us live.
How's it going?
You got me.
I do.
All right, Jake.
Am I video sharing or yeah, I guess I am.
Yes, you
You
are.
can see I brought my own podcast, Mike. I've been waiting for you guys to invite me on here for so long.
I love it. You were in the press conference. First of all, we know you're going to hit at noon. We're not going to keep you long. We appreciate it. And you can watch Jake on Action News Jackson Noon, CBS 47. Behind me, it's right up there. You'll see him. But until then, you were in the press conference with Lamping. What did you learn? What were your big takeaways?
Well, one of the big takeaways, I know this was something that you were particularly interested in, was what is the future of the London games?
Right.
And Lamping did not say that, we're definitely not going to do London games anymore, but he did not sound, fully committed to it necessarily. As the teams are required every 4 years to play an international game now. And, the Jaguars, when that pops up, we kind of get a double hit because we're already committed to that London game every year. So he said, looking forward after the stadium renovations are done, I mean, really after the 2026 season, we're going to take a look at our London strategy to see, if that's, still in the best interest in the team. Obviously, we're spending an enormous amount of money on these stadium renovations, and to lose an extra home game every year and then 2 every 4 years, perhaps that calculation may not make sense going into the future. I mean, he didn't say that it doesn't, but
yeah,
it's something that'll likely come up. My biggest takeaway, the question that I've had for a year and a half since they passed this deal, is when am I going to see the shiny roof? And apparently we're going to start seeing that shiny roof, the shade structure, start taking shape early next year. So not that far off. That's early 2027. So
did they give any other details of what that would look like and how long that will take to implement and put in?
Well, first what they're doing right now is these sort of the steel frame that's going to hold the shade structure in place, be the sort of support system for that. We're already seeing some of those come to life, which is funny. I drive past this stadium all the time. I do live hits in front of it pretty frequently. Yep. I hadn't noticed that they were popping up, but you can see them clear as day. Those are all the whole steel structure itself is going to be done by November, if all goes according to plan. And then from there, they're going to do something called a compression ring that I guess is kind of going to go through the middle of it and kind of hold it all together.
Okay.
And apparently, to even raise that, they'll put the steel cables in place, and it'll be kind of laid out on the field, and then it's a multi-month process to just slowly pull it up. And I guess it's pulling, those steel structures together to create some additional stability. But I guess while that's happening, they'll start doing the outside of that special material. I don't remember what it's called, some sort of polycarbonate whoozy-whatsy or something that will go around. And, but that's that's the exciting part for me because, we haven't had that shiny look to a stadium. I mean, that was kind of one of the big selling points, I think, for a lot of people. So that's, we'll start seeing it look like that, not too far in the future. Some other things, we're going to play 2 London games next season, which, strategically kind of makes sense because we are at reduced capacity, and we're doing that in exchange for not having to play that international game in the 2030 season when the stadium is fully done and at full capacity. So, if you think about it, it kind of works out to be a fairly good deal for us, but there's also sort of strategy in the construction process there as well, because they're going to have those 2 London games back to back. They're going to try to get the bye week right after that, and also either get in a no, not Georgia, Florida, actually, just to give them kind of they're looking to try to get a full month of the stadium not being used in the middle of the season so they can ramp up construction during the season to make sure that they kind of don't fall behind. That's not necessarily guaranteed. It'll depend on, whether they're able to get that away game and they're able to get the bye week lined up with the trip to London. But they mentioned that would be a big help in making sure everything runs apace. What else do you want to know?
Well, before I know we're time sensitive here. I think one of the bigger things is the overall message from Lamping. Is it like very positive with the things that I know, like, can't go be like, hey, we're behind and all this stuff. I know that there's got to be a general optimism. But could you feel that there was a lot of optimism and this is kind of going exactly as they have planned, and they haven't had to really make a lot of adjustments because they did their due diligence ahead of time and they're on schedule, all that good stuff?
I mean, yeah, I think as of now, it's all kind of smooth sailing. But, he mentioned that if you're building a brand new stadium, on a grass field, you'll figure out if there's going to be sort of additional issues, whether it's environmental concerns or unforeseen challenges. Those tend to arise on the front end of a project because it does oftentimes have to deal with, what's underneath that grass, things that you're doing in the early stages of planning for a big build like this. But because, they are building and modifying an existing structure, these unforeseen challenges are going to be something that pops up throughout the course of the construction. So it doesn't seem like they've run into anything dramatic that changes the timeline or impacts the baseline plans at this point. But, it's always kind of going to be a concern as we move forward because, hey, there's a crack in the foundation or I'm not a construction worker, so I couldn't tell you all the possible challenges, but I mean, it makes sense. You're doing a home renovation, you realize, oh, we have a cloth wiring or something, and that all needs to be taken out. So, it's very optimistic right now, but cautiously optimistic that we're not going to see new things pop up.
Yeah, I know. I've got one more for you because we were taking a live look at the bank while these kind of notes were coming out. And I know that he said all of the seats from the upper bowl are out, which obviously we can see. Was there any comment on, hey, this is exactly still how it will look come the fall when games are played, or will there be a tarp or something else? Or was there any comment on that?
It sounded like the reason why they're, having to eliminate those upper deck, seats for this season in particular is because the steel structure will kind of wrap over it, and that construction will be happening in the middle of the season.
Okay.
And it would just kind of create a dangerous environment. I mean, I suppose if something were to go wrong and one of those steel beams were to fall off a crane or something, you don't want people sitting directly underneath. In terms of like removing the upper deck, I apologize. I don't recall him mentioning if that's going to be something that we see in the 26 season.
I got you.
But I think that whole space is going to be pretty dramatically changed as construction moves forward. Of course, there's the 27 season where we're going to be away, and it sounds like we should have sort of a definitive answer on where that game will be played. Obviously, I think Orlando is kind of rumored to be the favorite. Camping World Stadium. We should know sometime in March.
Yep.
And that will actually start moving through committees as early as next week.
Awesome. All right, Jake, I appreciate it. Any final thoughts before you get ready to hit live on Action News Jackson Noon?
If you guys ever want to have me on to, cry after a Jags loss, always happy to hop on. I mean, I may
talk
not
Pokemon.
be like the brightest.
I can't, but
yeah, we can definitely do that. Got a Bubble Mew graded in a PSA 10.
No idea what that means, but I'm sure somebody does. Okay.
Somebody out there, hey. How do you feel about it, chat? That's what we do on podcasts.
We'll see.
Right?
Yeah, I'll let you know. If we have any Pokemon fans, let us know so I can relate it to Mr. Jake Stofan, and we'll get that going potentially.
Sounds good. Jason, thanks for having me on, and stay tuned. We'll have more on all this tonight.
Beautiful. All right, that is Jake Stofan. Appreciate him taking a few minutes. This is the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 studio. It is empty right now, but not for long. Action Sports Jacks Marcel Robinson will stop by in just a few minutes. We'll have more from him. Some other news and notes. I want to talk about the Texans. Their offseason. Some interesting comments, I believe, from their GM. That's ahead. And again, we'll go to Indy. Brent, Mia, full cast and crew of characters on the Brent and Austen Show on a Wednesday. Appreciate everybody hanging out. We'll be right back.
Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to easily access Action News Jax Now using your Roku device. First, launch Roku. Next, use the menu list to scroll down to the search feature. Then, use the remote to enter Action News Jax into the search bar, and then click Action News Jax thumbnail. Once you see this screen, go ahead and select Add App. Wait a few seconds for it to install. Once it finishes installing, press the star button on your remote and click on Move App or Move App to the top. Finally, select the app back on your home screen to open it. Now you can watch all the great content on Action News Jax Now. Live daily breaking news.
We have breaking news happening right now in Clay County.
First alert weather and traffic.
Looks like we have a tornado warning. Let's take a look at that.
Action Sports Jax 24/7.
We've got the Brent and Austen Show daily, live sporting events, and long-form interviews you can't see anywhere else.
And shows like Law and Crime and much more. And that's how you access Action News Jax Now using your Roku device.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Hey guys, we got a new player today. I hear he's pretty good.
Heard this guy played in the NFL.
I think he's an MMA fighter. I've actually been on his show, the Brent and Austen show.
Football and fighting, that's the easy part. Let's see if I still have it on the ice. What the heck, man? Who is this guy? He's saving everything.
Leave the hockey to the pros, man.
It's hockey season. Come on out and see the Icemen play. Get your tickets at JacksonvilleIcemen.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
A look at Wembley Stadium, where the Jags will once again be playing in 2026, along with Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 2 home games, if you're just now joining us, for the Jacksonville Jaguars across the pond in London this year. Will this be the year that a lot of fans decide to make the trip? We know a lot of fans have made the trip already, but those who have been hesitant or saying, hey, we'll get to it later, will they pull the trigger this year? We'll ask that question with Marcel Robinson in just a second. But welcome back, Wednesday edition of the Brent and Austen Show. I'm Jason Hamby. Before we get there, let's the NFL Combine is weird because there's so much going on, but yet so little. But what is happening is just people are talking. People are talking, and word starts to fly, and conversations here and there. You start to get some inklings of things, and rumors become not just rumors. A lot of topics coming out of Indianapolis, and Mia O'Brien is there. We're going to hear from her live, previewing day 2 in about 30 minutes. But before then, she sat down with J.P. Shadrick yesterday, live from Indianapolis. Here is part of that.
The 2 lone representatives from the Jacksonville media, with all due respect to Ryan O'Halloran. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Action Sports Jacks 24/7. And welcome in J.P. Shadrick of Jaguars.com. Here for fun, here to visit some friends on Media Row. How's it been so far?
It's good, and I think this is the first time you and I have done anything on a microphone before. So
I've been here 8 years, so.
I've been here a little bit longer than that, but it's good to be back in Indy. I mean, it's a strange time in Indy because no Jaguar leadership is here. The coach and the GM and Baselli, they're not here. There are some scouts here doing interviews and some of the testing stuff later in the week. And the Jags don't have a first-round pick. So it's all kind of a strange off-season, and I guess that's what stable franchises sometimes do. Sometimes you just don't have a lot of off-season news around the Combine, and that's where we are.
You brought it up. Let's start with that. No Jags. What's the reaction kind of been as you've been walking around the convention center?
Yeah, there's a little bit of like, what's going on? Why? What's the approach? And it goes back to what the Rams started to do. They stopped coming for a few years, and they wanted to make sure that their analysis of players focused on actual game tape. And they didn't want, they'll still go through the testing process and some interviews, but the decision makers didn't want their analysis or opinion of a player to be skewed this early in the process. Like, can the guy play football on a football field or not? And then, okay, maybe you take a 3-cone time and go confirm something back on tape later if something stands out here that's kind of skews the numbers a little bit. But the focus should be on the football field. What did the guy actually do with pads on, playing the game in college? And that's, I think, a reason why. And they can be a little more efficient with their time and save some money and have coaching meetings back home and not worry about all this stuff here. So that's the approach. Is it different? Sure. I think there's probably a few more teams that are inclined to do that in the years ahead.
Already, I heard that there's a couple of teams that may have brought their head coach here Tuesday to speak with members of the media, but the rest of the coaching staff was left back home.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. Yeah, absolutely. Because it is an opportunity to get out in front of the national folks and do, set the tone for the off season ahead. And they're just not here, and that's okay. It's not like they're in Cancun. I mean, they're back home working, so there's stuff going on.
Spring break for anybody, whether it's in Indianapolis or elsewhere. JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com. Last year, biggest storyline at the Combine, big picture league-wide, Matthew Stafford. Would he be leaving Los Angeles? Obviously, he did not. Wins the MVP award as a member of the Rams instead 1 year later. And then the idea, at least behind closed doors, we'll call it, the ESPN NFL network merger was probably, I would say, those were the two storylines for me, besides the Starbucks brawl, of course. Those were the two biggest storylines coming out of the Combine last year. What have been the biggest storylines you've heard walking press row today?
Well, what's going to happen with Max Crosby and the Raiders? Is he going to stick around? Are they going to move him? A lot of questions, a lot of new in Las Vegas. So that's been one thing I've been hearing today. Like, what's the answer? Nobody has the answer. That's the story at this point. A lot of the other stuff is competition committee met Sunday and then Monday, and what will be some of the rules change proposals that teams submit. We haven't found out the list yet. I believe it comes out soon because they'll have to vote on it and do it around the owners' meetings at the end of March. And there's a lot of talk about equipment issues, and most notably, I was odd to think about that shoulder pads would be a story. But it's the Wild West when it comes to shoulder pads. Guys can pretty much wear what they want. The testing of it is so inconsistent, and the league doesn't really have anything on paper about shoulder pads. There were a lot of shoulder injuries, AC joints in the league last year.
Especially among quarterbacks.
And some injuries just happen no matter what pads you wear. That's part of that. But the testing is so inconsistent because of the different types of pads. Pads are really kind of made for each individual player, chest size, shoulder, everything. That was fascinating to me because there's a lot of rules in the books about helmets, right? We know that clearly. That's something to watch, I think, moving ahead. Other than that, I mean, there was a lot of, the what's a catch and not a catch. And I guess they came out Monday, and Troy Vincent said, there's about 5 of the 160 plays that were kind of in question that we felt were probably the wrong call. It did not include the playoff game, the Broncos playoff game. The league thought they got that call right. So, what's the process of the replay behind it? I think there'll still be some conversation. May not be any changes. I think that's a big storyline. And when it comes to prospects, beyond Mendoza,
doesn't talk until Friday, by the way.
Who are the superstars in this draft? I mean, like, there's Reuben Bain, Miami. I mean, there's not really another great quarterback. Simpson, we'll see how he tests. I think he's going to do some stuff here.
No Alabama bias.
No, but he only played 15 games, so you just don't know a lot about him, and that's kind of the storyline. Other times here, there have been huge prospect storylines because there's guys that have played a lot of college football at a high level and are going to be drafted high. Now you just don't know a lot of these players. Part of that's because they move around and do certain things. Part of it might just be a little bit of a weaker draft class at the top.
Listeners of Brent and Austen, listeners of Club 904 have sounded off, and they have said that the biggest storyline they wanted to hear coming out of Indianapolis, Travis Etienne, Devin Lloyd, A lot of expectations, a lot of buzz here in Indianapolis that Lloyd could be among the top paid free agents potentially this offseason because much like the draft class, maybe the free agent crop across the board is not as strong as it's been in previous years. Although you can make the argument, JP, that not a lot of great players get to free agency. That's why they are great. Their team maintains their services and they develop within that system. Anything that you've heard here in terms of the interest from other teams in those two pending unrestricted free agents?
I haven't heard much about that yet. I mean, I know there's one team that probably won't do it, and it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. So he's going to be out there. I mean, it is of my opinion, and I think it is a very valid opinion, that you don't pay a linebacker on 1 year production, and especially interceptions. It's a fantastic year. Great timing for Devin. There will be a team out there that probably pays him top dollar, and good for him. And they'll get a good player. But at this point, do you double down on that, especially with the cap as tight as it is? You can move money around and do things, but there's some bills coming due in the next few years, and I think there are other priorities on defense. And I just think Devin's going to be out there, and he should be considered one of the top free agent linebackers in this year's class. And then when it comes to running back, that's the one you could argue a little bit more because he was so valuable to this offense out wide, passing game, bouncing it wide in the running game. I think there's still a little bit to be desired between the tackles for Travis. And if you're going to pay him a top-tier contract, you got to be confident in everything 100% of his game. Not that he's a bad player. He's a fantastic locker room guy and a really good running back. And I think there will be a team out there that probably pays him as well. I just don't know if it's going to be the Jaguars. They drafted 2 last year. Why not draft another with one of your 13 picks in the second round and later, or find a cheaper free agent option and then go from there? But it's just the business. That's the nature of the business we've chosen. Sometimes you can't bring everybody else around.
One more from me, JP, because I'd be remiss if I didn't, given you, me, Brent Martineau, going to be in a little documentary that airs tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Would you like to tell some of the folks at home, Don't Call It a Comeback, airing on Vice TV tonight with the series finale, about the comeback win against the Los Angeles Chargers?
I have no idea what parts of it they're going to use that you and I did. I don't know.
I'm expecting this. Have you seen like the Dan Levitard, Stu Gatz, when Stu Gatz was in the Mike and the Mad Dog documentary, and they literally just used the one clip of him saying they're playing sports as fast as and it's literally just a 5-second clip. That's what I'm expecting. The two of us will be there for 5 seconds.
I'm excited to see Doug Peterson's insight to it, just kind of reflecting back a few years later. The quarterbacks in it, of course, Josh Hines-Allen, and you got the Chargers' perspective of it as well. And they did a really good job, I think, on digging deep for some of the reasons why the comeback happened and what it felt like on the sideline. Everybody knows what it felt like in the stadium, certainly in the studio that night. Fun to be a part of it tonight, 9 o'clock on Vice TV.
Looking forward to it. And I'd be remiss. We had lots of people walking behind us. We could have applied for a table. We just didn't. I do want to note that. But also we wanted to make you feel like you are at the Scouting Combine, given it's just the Florida Times Union's Ryan O'Halloran and the two of us holding it down for Duval here in Indianapolis, JP. Appreciate you.
That's what happens when you win a division and you have no first-round pick and no leadership here. That's what it is. So
we have leadership in Jacksonville, to be fair. They just, are following that new progressive model.
Right.
So
enjoy your shrimp cocktail this week.
Thank you. I had one last night. Have you had one yet?
I had one.
Back to you, Brent.
I'll take it right here, and we're going to welcome in Marcel Robinson.
What up? What up?
Tout the shirt real quick.
Oh, come on now. You already know what it is.
Come on now. I love it. All right, so there's JP Shadrick and Mia. Appreciate them. We're going to hear from Mia again live in just a little bit. Marcel, I want to hit a number of things with you. Real quick, the thought that there are no superstars in the Combine. Mendoza. Do you consider Ruben Bain a superstar? Like, what? There's no personality that we're aware of there. He's a great, unbelievable football player, but it's not like off the field. I've never seen a Ruben Bain press conference or a video of any sort like I have Mendoza. Yep. So what do you make of that? Do you think the Combine is less interesting, or people who love the Combine are still always going to love the Combine and people that don't aren't?
I think the Combine diehards are always going to have that traditional idea and opinion about the Combine. They'll lock in, the underwear Olympics, as we all like to call them. I think at the end of the day, I don't think that the Combine is kind of, I don't want to sit here and say that it's lost its luster, but I mean, you're right. A lot, especially in more recent years, a lot more of the focus has been placed on these guys' pro days. Obviously, you got a little bit more of a controlled environment. You're typically at home. You're not, who's throwing to you. Obviously, from the receiver standpoint, the guy throwing to you as opposed to some guy. You might be in a bad rep with a guy who can't throw the ball accurate 30 yards down the field, and that's kind of on you. But no, I think that the personality stuff. I think you'll always find combine stars. That's one thing about the combine is even though some of the guys that we may want to hear or may want to see. I think at the end of the day, if you do sit down and lock in at the combine, I mean, let's be honest, it's a showcase. They're going to find somebody that they're going to pump up to be a star. They're going to make a combine star out of somebody who ran the guy who runs the fastest 40 time, he's going to be a star. The guy that throws up the most reps of 225, he's going to be a star. The guy that comes out of here and throws on air and the ball doesn't touch the ground, that quarterback's going to be the best thing since Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes and all of that stuff. So, I don't necessarily think it's something to particularly worry about. I think the combine is kind of either love it or you don't. If you love it, you'll lock in, you'll find somebody. And if you don't, then you just won't care about it.
This might be my last opportunity to do so, so I want to give you this op. You think that you would test really well at the combine?
In some drills, yeah, I think so. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm going to pull a Xavier Worthy out my bag and and drop in the 4.2 sections, but I'd have a respectable performance, to be honest with you. Contrary to popular belief, I actually have never run anything less than a 4.5 I was always like a 4.7 on a good day guy. I think I've run 2 4.5s in my life, and those are just like really good days. But yeah, I think the vertical is there. I'm still jumping over people in your local flag football league. So route running, I'm not gonna lie, my routes aren't as crispy as they used to be. I saw a video not long ago, and I was like, oh God, get that guy off the field. And then it was me. So, I'm a gamer though. The lights come on, then I'll turn it on.
So you would have would you have participated in the combine?
Oh yeah, anytime I get my hands on to be able to get on a football field and get a football in my hand, like I don't care what it is, I would do everything.
Okay,
honestly.
You mentioned Xavier Worthy. I still think this was not talked about enough. The fact that Isaiah Bond, last year came out and sold everybody a bill of goods that he was going to run 4.2 flat, and Buddy ran 4.4. Very respectable number.
Yeah.
But bro, you said you were running 4.2. We didn't clown him enough.
I mean, he got everybody watching, didn't he?
I guess he did.
Mission accomplished. I mean, and honestly, like truth be told, like look, speed kills, and obviously, the 4.2 guys, it's obviously great to have on your team, but I mean, all the great ball players will tell you, man, game speed and foot speed, they're two totally different things. I mean, some of the best guys in the league right now, they run 4.7s, 4.63 or whatever like that. Probably have never sniffed a 4.2 whatever. But the field is only 40 yards wide, and those other guys and angles are everything. Kudos to having a 4.2 whatever, but I don't know many 4.2 whatever guys that are considered the absolute best in the league, year in and year out.
100%. Obviously, the big news of the day: Jags going to London twice, and both of those are home games next year. And we've broken that down in a lot of different angles. I wanted to ask you, if you're a fan, is this your window to go? And would you rather? Because obviously, I would assume that really nobody's going to London after the stadium is built, right? So you got 2 years to do it. Sure. So would you rather do it now, where when you go to the bank, it's not going to feel the same because it's limited capacity? It's still going to be sick, I would assume.
Sure.
Or would you rather do it in 2027 when there's no bank at all and you're skipping Orlando games?
I mean, that's tough. It's kind of one of those to each their own moments. I think if it were me, if I were a fan, I would probably look to go when there are no home games here. Okay. Just because, in the sense of, like, if you're a Jaguars fan, like, honestly, whether you're a fan or not, like, there's the feeling, whether it's minimal capacity, limited capacity, full capacity, the feeling at the bank when they're playing, it's just different. So it's not something, like, even if it's at half capacity, which we hope it's never at half capacity. But I don't think, because that's always been the gripe, right, with the London games, is you don't want to give up a home game. Like, obviously, the people that have tickets, people that are here in town that don't want to travel across the pond to see them play, they want to see as many games as they can at home, because it's much bigger than just, being at home and the ticket prices, being able to, obviously be close to your family, watch your friends, and, be with the people that obviously are a shared interest with the love of the team that is. I think for me personally, I would probably say 27, but at the same time, I don't think it's. I think you go either way, whichever one you want to go. Like if you've never been, it is cool, and I think that I personally think going one time to witness it over there is probably worth. If this is your year, if you can go this year and you can't go next year, I think it'd be worth it. I've been. I went back in 2017. And it is different. I would say that it's worth going at least one time just to experience it. I know obviously you don't want to miss out on a game here in town, but I think you're absolutely right with it being limited capacity, and it who knows what it's going to feel like. I don't think this would be a bad opportunity to get yourself on a plane and slide across the pond.
So you went back in 2017.
Yeah,
obviously I think everybody's familiar. Stewart's territory is over there, his family and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and also that game typically, it hasn't as much in years past, if I'm not mistaken, but that game typically has fallen on Georgia-Florida weekend. And as everyone knows, much like you, diehard Georgia fan, and working in the Florida market, the only time I get to watch Georgia play in person, with the exception of the last 2 years, is here in town. Right. And that just wasn't a game I wanted to give up.
So then so if you could forecast, what do you think will be a better fan experience?
Okay.
Limited capacity this year in Jacksonville, or full capacity, or however much that is, at Camping World, given they fulfill the $400 million renovation?
That is a good question. I would probably still say limited capacity here, just because it still feels like home. I think that even if we pack out Camping World Stadium, I think it'll be cool. I think we'll have a little bit of a live atmosphere. But I think you get a little bit more buzz knowing that you're in Jacksonville rooting for the Jacksonville team. Even if there's cranes in the background, even if you look up and half the 400 section is gone, I think knowing that you're at your home stadium still gives you a little bit of a bump from a fan perspective. And I think that, traveling down to Orlando, to drive down there, deal with the drive, deal with getting in, new stadium. Don't get me wrong, Camping World is a nice stadium. It's great, but it's not, it's still not Everbank Stadium.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even at limited capacity. So personally, I would say that the fan experience here, to me, I would say forecast would be better.
Switching gears with you before we take a break, did you see the Kirby Smart Cristobal stuff?
Yeah, man, I got a problem with Cristobal, man. It's on site for them, not for me, because I'm not throwing hands because I don't do that anymore. But whoever, me and Mario Cristobal, we got beef, man. He was out there throwing haymakers for no reason, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. Like, what we doing
I mean,
here?
in his defense, I think Kirby got him all right.
Man, that's different, though. That's different.
I mean, dude, all right. So, first of all, I want to give props to Kirby. I thought he was, original. I thought, if you have no idea what we're talking about,
it was good.
Steve Spurrier Awards, which personally I had never heard of before.
Neither have I.
But I think this was year 5. It's presented by Chris Doring Mortgage. Obviously, everybody's familiar with Chris Doring. But they do awards for, I believe, first-year coach.
Sure. Yeah.
Legacy coach, and then freshman.
Yeah, freshman.
So Kirby Smart was there because of Ellis Robinson, the Dogs rookie corner, who's unbelievable.
Dog.
Dan Mullen was the legacy coach, which is so ironic that it.
He finally brought a Coach of the Year award to Gainesville. Damn. How about that?
Oh man. But so all those guys are there. Cristobal and Summerall's obviously they're just because he's in Gainesville. So Kirby got some good shots off at Summerall because Spurrier's daughter is a realtor in Gainesville and said, well, I mean, hey, they've had 4 coaches since I've been at Georgia, so I'm sure she's doing all right, which is pretty good. But Cristobal's, I get that the guy's jacked, but you don't got to comment on Kirby Smart's weight. I feel like he's doing pretty good relative to a lot of the other head coaches in college football.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
All the Beck banter was pretty funny.
Yeah, I give it to him. It was funny. I enjoyed it. It was good. I joke and kid about it, but yeah, I thought it was funny. I mean, I think the biggest loser in all of this is obviously, Summerall having to sit there and just get punched in the face repeatedly with his hands tied behind his back,
and he couldn't even have a turn at the mic.
I mean, what was he going to say? There's literally nothing for him to say. I mean, he's right. He will be the fourth coach that Kirby has played. He obviously has no control over the three that came before him, but facts are facts. And then obviously everything Mario Cristobal said about Florida. I thought my favorite line obviously was he never felt more at home than when he came and pounded Miami pounded Florida at the Swamp. I appreciate it.
41-17.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So yeah, that's tough. Hey, hopefully, you never know, stuff like that. Obviously, they're all friends. I mean, it's just a big fraternity of coaches. But who's to say that Summerall might not take this and try to find a way to make it bulletin board material and get those guys playing.
You could. You very well could. All right, Marcel, appreciate you hopping on. We may just about hear from you tomorrow, maybe Friday.
It's possible. I know there's a lot of questions and not many answers. So the farewell tour continues. So we'll see when the next stop on that particular tour is.
Absolutely. I just wanted to take one more time to talk ball with them. So appreciate that. Another look at the 2026 opponents. More talk about that over the next days as we try to piece the puzzle together of the Jaguars schedule. When we come back, it's Indy time. We go live back up to O'Brien. Brent Martineau hops in as well from Boston, all over the place. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Right back in the noon hour on the Brent and Austen Show.
Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to easily access Action News Jax Now using your Roku device. First, launch Roku. Next, use the menu list to scroll down to the search feature. Then, use the remote to enter Action News Jax into the search bar, and then click Action News Jax thumbnail. Once you see this screen, go ahead and select Add App. Wait a few seconds for it to install. Once it finishes installing, press the star button on your remote and click on Move App or Move App to the top. Finally, select the app back on your home screen to open it. Now you can watch all the great content on Action News Jax Now. Live daily breaking news.
We have breaking news happening right now in Clay County.
First alert weather and traffic. Looks like we have a tornado warning. Let's take a look at that.
Action Sports Jax 24/7.
We've got the Brent and Austen Show daily, live sporting events, and long-form interviews you can't see anywhere else.
And shows like Law and Crime and much more. And that's how you access Action News Jax Now using your Roku device.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Hey guys, we got a new player today. I hear he's pretty good.
Heard this guy played in the NFL.
I think he's an MMA fighter. I've actually been on his show, the Brent and Austen show.
Football and fighting, that's the easy part. Let's see if I still have it on the ice. What the heck, man? Who is this guy? He's saving everything.
Leave the hockey to the pros, man. It's hockey season. Come on out and see the Icemen play. Get your tickets at jacksonvilleicemen.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Noon hour on the Brent and Austen Show. Another live look, or not a live look, what am I saying? Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, and now we're going to go live out there right now to Mia O'Brien. Boots on the ground up in Indianapolis. Checked in with you yesterday. We played your sit down with JP Shadrick about an hour ago. So some good insights there from the two of you. But day two of this thing for you. Mia, how we doing? Did we have a good lunch? What are the vibes in Indy right now?
So I'll answer each of those one by one. We'll start with your live shot, which if you ask some, it may be an actual live shot because, you know, the sun in short supply out here in the Midwest, although it is out today. I was very excited when I left the hotel and I saw the sun. Always a good start to the day. Always appreciate that on my little 3-block walk over here to the convention center. As far as now, I lost track of your questions. Lunch. I didn't get a chance to get lunch because I was just on with ESPN Cleveland. But my colleague at ESPN Radio, Aaron Goldhammer, is supposed to text me while we are live and potentially bring me lunch, which would be my second successful day of having someone else ensure that I am fed during the noon hour. Shout out to our old buddy, David Wolf, formerly of Jags PR, now of Texans PR, who made sure I had the greatest chicken tenders in the history of the Indianapolis area. Okay, they're at Tom's. I don't think Tom's will allow for you to do to-go food, Aaron, but that's okay. Maybe he can try to do that. But yeah, so I had the greatest chicken tenders in the world yesterday, so that was great. And maybe I'll have something from Tom's, although I did go there Monday. But yeah, things are good. Vibes are good. I will just tell you this, overarching themes, Hamby, as far as, you know, being here in Indianapolis. I wrote about this at the Mo Bryan NFL Notebook too. The fact that the Liam Cohen and James Gladstone no-show is a talking point, I think is more indicative of the lack of star power and the lack of storylines here in Indianapolis than it is an indictment on the draft process of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Truly, from everyone who I talked to, good or bad, there just really isn't a whole heck of a lot of juicy storylines to talk about right now. And so because of that, I think that's why it was a talking point yesterday. I don't think it'll be a talking point the rest of the week. I think it's just reality. Kyle Shanahan's not here. Matt LaFleur's not here. I don't hear anybody complaining about that. So we keep it moving. But yeah, it's been interesting just because I noted this both here on the program as well as at the Mo Bryan NFL Notebook too. I feel like in years past, I've come to the combine and there has been unsolicited 1 or 2 storylines that every person who comes up to you on day one and day two, they are bringing it up to you. We just don't have one of those this year. And maybe it's going to emerge here. Maybe there'll be another fight at Starbucks. But in the interim, holding down the fort. And we'll see what happens.
I love it. Let me ask you, do you think any of the constant conversation about, hey, the Jags brass is not here, at least the leaders of the brass, you think any of that's jealousy? Other people just kind of wanting to kick back and wishing, hey, I wish my, EVP or I wish my head coach wouldn't make us come. I'd much rather be back at our stadium, back at our HQ, going over draft boards and all that good stuff. So, why do we got to be here? I don't want to be in Indianapolis. Is anybody saying that?
Well, I was just on with ESPN Cleveland, and they want to know why the Jags won 13 games because they were banking on that draft pick being, a little bit higher, maybe
sure
a top 5, top 10 pick. So I think there's a little, playfulness in the sense coming from Cleveland, but I think that it's also the growing trend of the McVay tree and around the league. I wrote about this as well. Kevin O'Connell and D'Amico Ryans are here, but because they're a part of the competition committee, they also did not speak at the podium. And I think that is going to be a growing trend, that even if coaches do come to Indianapolis, it is just the head coach, not one of the assistant coaches. The scouting staff is here. The GM will talk for some, not all. But then in terms of the coaches coming here on what I have been told is, spring break, that is being pushed further and further to the fringe. I think we will see in the coming years. Just because I think that if this young guard of McVay and Shanahan, who everybody seemingly wants a slice of that pie at the head coaching position, and if James Gladstone continues to have success, I would anticipate that you will see more branches of the Les Snead tree, whether it's Brad Holmes in Detroit or James in Jacksonville. You're going to see that continue to proliferate. And if they don't think that it's worth their while to uproot the operation and bring it here for a week, and it's wasting valuable minutes that could be spent elsewhere, and it could cloud their judgment of a certain prospect based off what they hear in a 15-minute interview versus what they see on tape, then I think you'll see more teams. But I do think the podium part in particular is going to be something I'm going to watch in the coming years, just because it wasn't just Liam Cohen who wasn't speaking at the podium.
Do you know how many head coaches did speak at the podium yesterday?
Okay, so Liam's not here, McVay's not here, Shanahan's not here, no D'Amico, no KC, LaFleur's not here. So what's that? 32 minus 6.
Okay. Everybody else did, because I didn't see
see
Stefanski. At least on social media, I didn't see him.
I believe he did. He did. I'll double check that one. Oh, Kubiak didn't, but that's also because he's trying to put a staff together.
Of course. Yeah.
So, and John Spytek was the first person to speak at the podium. Shout out to my coworker at ESPN Radio, Q Myers, who had to fight the good fight yesterday. He had Spytek at 8 a.m. His show didn't start till 5 p.m. So long day. Long day for Q in the Raiders game. But yeah, so Kubiak didn't speak either. But guess where Clint Kubiak used to work? For Kyle Shanahan.
Right.
So I think that's where I'm fascinated to see if the trend continues.
One of the most fascinating things that I saw yesterday from the head coaches that are, is just so comparable, I thought, to the Jags situation just a few years ago was good old Sean Payton is releasing play calling duties to his OC, Davis Webb, which, first of all, kudos to Davis Webb because he was a head coaching candidate. That's probably what was necessary to make him stay, if I had to, or at least lure him back to Denver, if I can put 2 and 2 together. But that being said, we have a guy who just went to the AFC Championship, releasing play calling duties to his OC, who before last year, most of their own fans had never heard of him. Okay, obviously.
I wouldn't say people hadn't heard of Davis Webb because he was a pretty big backup. He's Josh Allen's best friend.
Okay, but I think my point is like
no one
Sean
knew he was
Payton.
a coach, I guess.
Sean Payton,
nationally.
right? Sean Payton is our head coach because he's the offensive mastermind. He is the play caller. Same as everybody in Jacksonville knew who Press Taylor was, but as far as the resume as a coach, we have Doug Peterson, and obviously we know this whole story way too well. I just found it, it's like, man, like Sean, learn from what Doug did. You just went to the AFC Championship. Why are you making this change?
He's making the change because they needed to keep Davis Webb in the building, and they probably have it written into his contract, if I had to guess. And I haven't done any digging on this, and I haven't spoken with anybody from the Denver media that I know of who would have brought that up to me or my attention. So I would say that that is something that was probably written into the deal. Like, Davis Webb returned under the pretense that he will have some play calling reps. So that part wasn't really surprising to me. Also knowing that, from what I've gathered, performed pretty well in the interviews for head coaching positions. And if he wasn't going to be a head coach, he was going to be an OC somewhere else this cycle, even if it wasn't as a play calling head coach, offensive coordinator, excuse me. So yeah, I think that some of that is Sean Payton recognizing that he is also not just building this young person up for real potential jobs 1 year from now, whereas Press Taylor had one offensive coordinator or head coaching request after year one in Jacksonville, and that was to be it would have been play calling OC for because it ended up going to Todd Monken for John Harbaugh in Baltimore, but Doug blocked it. So that's the part that doesn't make sense, right? Like, Sean Payton understands that Davis Webb is going to fly the nest at some point in time here in the next year or two, and he's just happy to have him while he does, and so he's going to capitalize on that opportunity. With Doug, I mean, you weren't even going to let Press leave or at least test the waters, and now you're going to give a play calling duty with this hope that he's going to wow the world on fire, and then he's going to get all these head coaching opportunities, probably, because Doug's an optimistic guy and he believes in his guy, and I respect that. But ultimately, Davis Webb had head coaching requests this past offseason. Press Taylor barely had any OC requests. So that's the difference between the two, in my opinion.
All right, I want to take you around the AFC South if I can. Starting with the Texans, who we got a lot of some rumor, some interesting comments from the GM yesterday. Ooh. We have those if we want to hear from him. Let me just start at the quarterback position, though. He's asked about C.J. Stroud multiple times, shuts down all conversation about it, which you fully expect, and says it's. I think the word he used was moronic, which I hadn't heard in a long time, to describe the conversation around C.J. Stroud. But Mia, let me ask you this: just the fact that he's getting those questions, doesn't that say just how bad it got last year? And it wasn't just the playoff game, which obviously did him no favors, but all the way down the stretch, just the fact that he's having to answer these questions, doesn't it seem how loud it is starting to get in Houston there?
I mean, I heard rumblings even prior to this, and prior to the playoffs, that not that a trade was imminent, but that there was smoke around the league, probably around November or December, which C.J. Stroud wasn't lighting the world on fire back then either, that his representation, Athletes First, was preparing to, start making the case to Nick Caserio that they should be being ahead of it, getting ahead of it, preemptively extending the former number 2 overall pick, extending their quarterback, much like the Jaguars did with Trevor Lawrence. The difference being, well, yes, Trevor Lawrence just had that 18-month stretch, you could argue, between 2022 and 2023, and then they extended him going into 2024, and then he got hurt, which unfortunately, when it comes to injuries, there's only so much you can do. But I think that the difference was there was an 18-month stretch, whereas for C.J. Stroud, there's an Offensive Rookie of the Year campaign, and the next year, your OC got run out of town, and now we bring in a new OC, and we're getting less of a result than previously got with the previous guy. So I had heard in November or December that there was already smoke of they want to seek the extension. And then I think once he did what he did in the postseason, the goose was cooked, and there's no way that they can go to Caserio and ask for an extension now, in my opinion. They can try, but I don't think they will. And because I don't think it's good practice, and I don't think they really have the leverage at this point in time. And so because they won't have the leverage, he'll play. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they'll pick up the 5th-year option because that's just good business practice. But I am also, and this is just me connecting tea leaves and things I've heard over the last few months, if it continues down this road, then I think that makes, the Texans part of this easier, because then they'll just kind of, I don't want to say Lamar it, but they'll have him play on the 5th-year option. If he plays well enough that they're okay, fine, he's the quarterback. 5th-year option. Then they can tag him. Then they can tag him again, just like Lamar Jackson with Baltimore Ravens. The difference, of course, being Lamar Jackson was winning MVP awards during that stretch, but I digress. What if it gets even worse, though? If it gets worse, it's easier for them. But what if it gets better enough that there's a conversation for an extension, but at the same time, the Texans are what's the difference between Davis Mills and CJ Stroud.
Right.
That's where I think that the escape route will start to be formulated. And that's what I'm very interested to see, what that escape route would be for the same from the creators of Jalen Ramsey and the Brinks truck brings you CJ Stroud and the escape route.
Yeah, it seemed like, and I'm with you, that it's almost a no-brainer. Just let him play these 2 years and see where you're at. However, the antithesis of that is, well, Caserio said yesterday he's like a stock. Like I think that was the comp he made. And he's like, some unwise people will sell the stock and panic, whereas the smart ones will buy more and buy in at the low point, which got, I know, Texans fans asking, is he talking about extending him now cheap because he's coming off of a down year, because the optics aren't great? How cheap could you get him? Could you get him at a $35 million instead of $55? Is it worth doing? I know that was a conversation yesterday that I was following on Texans Twitter and all that good stuff. Is he talking about buying low, like extending him now? Surely not before this 2026 season. And I think you would say, yeah, he ain't going to extend him before this year.
No, he's not going to extend him, but that's where I think that they've got wiggle room. And again, we live in a world where Sam Darnold is the reigning Super Bowl champion quarterback. So don't give up on your quarterback too early. I respect that. But again, from everything I was told previously and knowing where the leverage currently sits, Hamby, the escape route will be hatched at some point in time, depending on how CJ Stroud plays. How much time do we have? Because we do have a very special guest joining us, but I don't know if we want to hit break and then bring in Dalton Wasserman of PFF. What would you like to do, Hamby?
We need to take one more break, and then we will bring that in. We will also going to hear from Florida Gator Caleb Banks, which I just got that from you, which is I'm looking forward to hearing that. So, yes, we will take a quick break.
You may want to bleep some of it out. Just a heads up. While Dalton and I are catching up live, Hamby, you may want to edit that down because he dropped a couple F-bombs. He dropped a couple A words. And, he kept apologizing.
Okay.
He said the S word, too. So you may want to edit it while Dalton and I catch up about his latest mock draft for the Jags.
The whole gamut. All right, that sounds good. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll edit Caleb Banks' language, and we'll be right back from Indy to Jacksonville. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us.
Choose your own adventure. It's not just a saying, but a way of life here at Cycles of Jacksonville. And whether it's 2 wheels or 4 wheels, at Cycles of Jacksonville, a great adventure awaits. With brands like Honda, Vespa, Segway, and Triumph, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with their inventory featuring a 60,000 square foot building. If 4 wheels is more your thing, check out the largest selection of Honda Talons in the entire county. No matter what you're looking for, Cycles of Jacksonville is going to have the selection you need, all with great financing and rebates. Plus, if you're active duty military, Cycles of Jacksonville will offer you 0% financing along with great discounts for military and first responders. And when you want to get off the road and set sail, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with everything you need to get on the water. So if you're ready for a great adventure, let Cycles of Jacksonville be your guide. Located off Atlantic Boulevard, or check out their website at cyclesofjacksonville.com.
How do we make Mason's famous lobster rolls? It's simple. We get up before dawn, head into the open waters of Maine, haul in our traps by hand, and send only the best straight to our restaurants, where we add warm butter or chilled mayo with a squeeze of lemon and pile it on a toasted split-top roll, just like it's been done for nearly a century. That's the recipe for Mason's famous lobster rolls.
Thanks for meeting me here.
You okay?
You're my only lawyer friend, and I need your professional opinion.
Okay.
You see that brand new Hyundai Tucson out there?
Yeah.
That's all I paid for it. Do you know what you want?
Yeah. I think I do.
Enjoy your new car.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Deal so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event.
Lease a Hyundai Tucson for $259 a month, or get 2.99% APR, or get $1,750 bonus cash. Hurry in.
Grab some friends and go to a restaurant, or head out for a drink and some conversation. Watch your favorite team play on the big screen. Or how about play some games? You can do all of that in one night at Best Bet.
Each location has a different vibe, its own personality, like here at the original Best Bet in Orange Park. When you walk through these doors, everybody knows your name. And here in St. Augustine, it's the newest location. Play some poker. How about the table games? And don't forget about Ace's Sports Bar and Grill. And then there's the Jacksonville location right here on Monument Road. It's the biggest poker room in the state of Florida. Maybe you'll find yourself a seat right here at the final table. Best Bet, where you can have the best of times. And that makes you always go home a winner. Try any of the 3 locations, and you can always visit bestbetjax.com.
Year 2 is in the books for the Jacksonville Armada women's under-23 squad, taking another step forward in the Women's Premier Soccer League. Under the guidance of head coach David Goff, the girls in blue went undefeated at home for a second straight season, including a dramatic draw in the opener.
And they've left it to the death. Unbelievable stuff.
And a late winner to end the season at home.
Headed on. Here's a chance. Gianna Ramirez brings it down, still alive, takes a shot, and into the back of the net.
After fielding a younger roster in 2025 with talent from all across Northeast Florida, the future is bright for the Armada women's team. We highlight the ladies and all things Jacksonville Armada each week on Fleet and Footy on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
Baker's Sports. It's a hometown business filled with hometown people trying to make you feel right at home.
Chris Conley, Jacksonville University. Walker Wright, class of 2018, West Nassau High School. Michael Young, Fletcher High School.
Baker's Sports started in a grassroots way and now outfits much of the Southeast.
Samuel Coffrin, Paxton School for Advanced Studies.
High school sports, travel sports, youth sports of all kinds. They are a one-stop shop carrying Nike, Adidas, Under Armour brands, and more.
Vincent Caldes, Oak Leaf High School. Tony Mazzio, Stanwood High School, class of 2002.
Whether it's sports teams on the field or it's your team in the workplace, like our Action Sports Jacks team, and community events like the Dream 18 Golf Tournament, and many others.
Cole Tilley, Hilliard High School. Reagan Webb, Eagles View Academy.
Look good, feel good, play good with Baker Sports. Custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team at bakersport.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Did Trent Baalke cook? Taking a look at the 2023 draft class, and year by year, this class gets better and better. Obviously, the only guy out of these 6 that you're looking at on your screen that is not still with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Tank Bigsby. Antonio Johnson became a pseudo-star for you on defense. Parker Washington, you know how big of a star he became last year. Baalke, man, when he looks back on this class, he's going to be like, man, I told you so. Action Sports Jacks' Dan Griffiths writes about this. You can find it on actionsportsjacks.com. This is the 2023 class, the 2024 class, 2025. So many question marks. How about 2026? Well, we're going to go right back out to Indianapolis, the NFL Combine, with Mia O'Brien, with a guest breaking down the 2026 draft class, potentially.
Thanks, Hamby. Appreciate you. Dalton Wasserman of PFF, kind enough to join us here on the Brent and Austen Show. Thanks so much for hanging out with us on all the various channels of the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. And Dalton, planning on going through pick by pick. No, I'm not going to go that crazy because the Jaguars do have double-digit picks, despite the fact that they do not have a first-rounder in the 2026 crop. But you just said something to me that I said, okay, never mind. We're leading with that. Unlike some of your contemporaries in draft world, including at PFF, you like that James Gladstone and Liam Cohen are not here.
I find it so interesting because it's obviously an approach he brought with him from LA, and this is something Les Snead and Sean McVay have done for a while, right? Where it's, now what he said I thought it was interesting too is he, I believe, did he not do top 30 visits either?
No top 30.
He mentioned something about wanting to eliminate any sort of bias, and I absolutely love that. You think about the analytics world and everything that we do at PFF and so many other companies do now, and it's about just getting results and finding formulas that get us results, right? And at the end of the day, once you start meeting people in person and you get that sort of of attachment, or you see guys running 40s. Like, to me, look, I'm a tape guy, right? And in the
So
combine,
that's why you're like James Gladstone. You just want to grind the tape, and that's all you're going to go off of.
Honestly, that's me to a T. Now, do I understand why the combine testing, everything is so important? You want to measure of these guys' athletic ability, yes, but also we get the results throughout the weekend. James Gladstone can sit in his house and do that and get the results and figure it out from there and just find those outliers and cutoffs and things like that. But I respect the approach. I really do, because at the end of the day, every coach talks about it, every GM talks about it. It's a results-based business, right? And you're just out here getting the results and packing that into the formula you're going to go into the draft with, whether you have a first-round pick or not. So I respect it. I wonder if more staffs are going to go to that approach, because here you get all of the noise and the buzz and the rumors and smoke screens and the stuff that the media side over here we have all sorts of fun with, but I do kind of like that he wants that clear vision about it, and the results are going to happen whether he's here or not. So I kind of like the research and the way that he goes about that.
And you also like the move that he made to trade away this year's first rounder to go up and select the Heisman Trophy winner, number 2 overall, in Travis Hunter, who of course plays both positions, wide receiver and corner. Maybe will major in one a little bit more than the other comparatively to his rookie campaign when he returns from his knee injury. But to that end, part of it, and we were just talking about it off air, full transparency, last year's first round picks in that class, talent-wise, comparatively to 2026, this year's, night and day?
I think yeah, it's night and day. I mean, certainly better last year overall as talent. And I think this year, beyond maybe 8 to 10 players who are probably locks to go within the top 10 to 15 picks, I think the talent's extremely similar. I think there's a solid draft. There's a lot of solid football players in this draft. I think there's 2 themes here. 1, it's a draft with more depth than blue chip star level talent, and 2, it's a heavy defensive draft. It is. So the fans might not get as riled up because we have a quarterback going first overall, but we have no idea after that. We have a running back who might go top 10, but we have no idea really after that how it shakes out. Everybody's got different rankings, especially for those 2 positions. And then I think even at receiver, there's some really good players at the top, but I don't think there's that Jamar Chase level, Calvin Johnson level prospect that we have, or maybe even Travis Hunter level prospect that we had like last year. So definitely, I think, especially if you're in a position like the Jags, trading away a late first round pick, and certainly we didn't expect the Jags to win 13 games coming into the year. That's a plus where you go, we only traded pick number 24 in this class. You feel really good about that and where they stand right now.
So you cover both the league as well as the college ranks for PFF, and so perfect person to look at the Jaguars roster, needs, holes, knowing pick 56 in the second round is their first pick. They then have 3 picks in the third round before we get to day 3, and there's a whole heck of a lot of picks to be had there. But let's talk about the Jaguars roster as currently constructed. Devin Lloyd, a pending free agent, Travis Etienne, a pending free agent. I feel like most of the conversations we've had so far here in Indianapolis, I have had to shape it as, okay, the reality is both of those 2 guys are probably getting paid. Who are you replacing them with? Is it an aggregate, or is there a player who you say, given what Devin Lloyd was in this defense, we have to go out and find the next Devin Lloyd?
So I think the easier one's Etienne.
Okay,
right? Because
let's start with there.
When you talk about, you get Jeremiah Love in probably the top 10 in this draft, he wasn't going to go to the Jags anyway. But you mentioned all those mid-round picks you have. I think a ton of running backs in this class are worth probably anywhere from a 3rd to 5th round pick. Plus, there's already Bashal Tootin in-house. There's LaQuint Allen in-house. They don't need a Jeremiah Love type guy to carry their backfield necessarily. They can find a back in the mid-rounds like a Jonah Coleman, a Katron Allen, an Emmett Johnson. Any one of those guys could fill just the role that they need him to. 1,500-yard rusher, maybe not, but they've got a good committee going there, and obviously Liam Cohen understands the importance of the offensive line and creating space for those guys. I think Lloyd will be the harder one. Look, for PFF this past season, he was our 3rd highest graded linebacker in the league. He just had an absolute superstar year, unbelievable in run defense and coverage, and he's going to be very highly in demand. I mean, I can think of teams like Cincinnati and Carolina and maybe even say the New York Giants, who I think they would very much like to have Devin Lloyd on the football team. And the Jags on their roster on the whole is so interesting to me because they don't have a whole lot of cap space. And yet, I look at all their position units, other than maybe running back, I would say for now, and I go, well, they're pretty good there when it comes to starters, right? But you have this feel the more you look at the roster where they need depth. I think having all those mid-round picks and maybe just finding some value on the free agent market could build that depth. And at linebacker, you still have a leader in Foye Oluokun, right? So it's not like would we love to replace Devin Lloyd with either himself or a similarly talented player? Sure, but it could be tough. And I think they'll survive. They can survive beyond, even if their second round pick is a linebacker. Great linebacker class we're looking at.
And that's the part that I'm so fascinated by, is this idea of you have a great off-ball linebacker class. Devin Lloyd's role in this defense in year one under Anthony Campanelli, which could transform, it could evolve, and the Jaguars have been very forthright about that, depending on the roster makeup. Do you need that off-ball linebacker who is able to rush over the B gap? Do you need that off-ball linebacker who can do a little bit of everything, but yet wasn't on the field on 3rd and 7 against the Buffalo Bills in a playoff game because you went to a dime package because that is where your defense was at its best? Or because the edge class and the edge depth in Jacksonville has also been a question. They have 2 undrafted free agent second-year players in BJ Green and Danny Strigow behind Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker. Dewan Smoot, a pending free agent. Emmanuel Agba, a pending free agent. Do you say we're just going to bulk up on the edge and the interior of the defensive line, and then we'll figure out filling that Devin Lloyd size hole?
I think that's the beauty of this class being so heavily kind of defensive laden with all the players and so much defensive talent is with all those mid-round picks, there's a chance you could fill all of those needs, right? You talk about having 4 or 5 day 2 picks, and the defensive line, I think, is the deepest position group in this draft. You're going to have no issue in the 2nd or even 3rd round finding defensive line contributors, right? And the good thing is you're not asking for very many starters, right? You still have Hines-Allen, like you mentioned. You still have Trayvon Walker. You have Eric Armstead, right? So you can find guys who can rotate in and play 30 snaps a game while they're getting acclimated. Right now, do you need a starting caliber linebacker? Sure, but I like what Ventrell Miller has shown us in a part-time role. I like what, I really like Jack Kaiser coming out of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I think he could be another contributor, and he's a really good athlete.
Are both those guys Mikes, though?
Yes, I mean, they're definitely.
That's what my
Kaiser's got a little more lateral movement. He's got good straight line speed with a little more lateral movement. The question for him is, can he really turn his hips in coverage? But even then, you know what I like about Campanelli is that he will just use what he has, right? You mentioned, yes, Lloyd wasn't on the field and they were getting in the dime, but their defense in some ways to me was built a little bit like Seattle, where he's going to use the pieces he had. I think, another underrated free agent, I think, is Andrew Winger, right? I think he's a guy who was very key to their defense, which is how versatile he was. Is he the best player on the team? No, but he fills so many roles as a chess piece. Antonio Johnson kind of playing that Nicky Manwari role as that pseudo 3rd linebacker that we're getting into now with all this talk with safety. So I do think Campanelli, no matter what personnel he comes out of this free agency period and this draft class with, he's going to find a way to just mold it all together. I think that's one of the best parts of Jacksonville's defense is how flexible they are.
Okay, Dalton Wasserman, a PFF. You say all these wonderful buzzwords, but now I need some names. I need you to tell me who's intangibly rich. Who are the Jaguars going after? Pick 56. Who are they going after in an ideal world if they're there with those 3 third-rounders?
The intangibly rich. Wow. Okay, so
I did just ask a couple prospects, and I'm excited to see any names you're going to throw at me, because one of those names that you could potentially throw at me along the defensive line had a nice answer for intangibly rich.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I won't say I've gotten to interview really any of these guys myself, so that might be tougher. But there's just trying to think. I know if we're looking defensive line, 2nd, 3rd round.
Because is that where you would say 56? You feel like they have to?
I think they could go. I think there's a lot with where their roster is. I think they could go several different ways. So in my most recent, I did a 3-round mock draft recently, and for the Jaguars, I had that 2nd round pick. I had Kamari Ramsey, the safety from USC, right, who's just really aggressive down in the box. I think if you were looking for a 2nd round replacement for Andrew Wingard, if they don't get to keep, I think a Kamari Ramsey from USC, good safety class, right? Genesis Smith from Arizona is another player who I think could fit in very well and just add one more piece to the middle of that defense, because corner, they're set, right? It's just about can we cover one of the big themes for me this offseason between Lloyd and Wingard being free agents is middle of the field coverage, right? So guys like that, like Ramsey, like
is he more center fielder?
He probably leans a little more into a box role. It could be a hybrid, but I don't know.
Because that's the other big question with Jacksonville is, like, do you have too many box safeties and not enough guys who are going to make plays for you in the middle of the field?
Yeah, I think if you're looking that way, I think you look more at, say, like a Genesis Smith from Arizona could play that role. He played a good amount of single high in that role, and Arizona's secondary was really good. That could be a player that intrigues them. If not in the 2nd, then I think the 3rd round, it's possible that he could be there. But I think there's several different ways they could go about it. It depends, of course, as always, how the board falls, right? They're picking at, 57? 56. I mean, and you look at even the line, they could look, I think at all 3 levels of defense, they could look at linebacker. If an Anthony Hill, say, from Texas were available there at 56, I think that makes a ton of sense. Jake Golday from Cincinnati, who really played a versatile role for them and could even get out into the slot a little bit of the way they played their defense. They could look at any of the 3 levels, right? And I think defensive line, if you want to improve it, defensive tackle, I think about, a Dominique Orange from Iowa State, who could really fill the A gaps and plug the run between the tackles. So I think there's the luxury of being as good and well balanced as they are, is they could really take any approach in any order that they want to.
Penetrating interior defensive lineman. That is what all the fans are. I can't read the YouTube chat. I see you guys chatting though. That's what they've been clamoring for weeks. Part of that is because Eric Armstead, now 31 years old, Who do you really have behind him? Mason Smith remains largely a question mark. They re-signed Matt Dickerson. That's better in depth. And so the idea of can you find, and it's tough because in any draft class, let alone one that maybe is not exactly as loaded with talent as some others, it's hard to find a penetrating, like for every Chris Jones, there's a Mason Smith. And like Mason Smith still is a young player and he could turn things around, but obviously being a healthy scratch the last few weeks of the regular season, tail is kind of the tape and the writing is on the wall, so to speak there, in my opinion. Now, with that said, is there someone who, and do you therefore have to pull the trigger at 56 to get that guy?
I don't think you necessarily have to. I think there's guys you could maybe get, and again, opinions are going to vary widely throughout this class. I've seen so many different opinions on the class as a whole and certain players in it. I think about, maybe a little bit smaller but more athletic player like a Grayson Halton.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. That the one we were waiting on? Grayson
That's
Halton.
who it
Grayson
is.
Halton from
There
Oklahoma.
it is.
He's there's another one more in the Kalijah Cansey mold who's very small, but Zane Durant from Penn State as well. I think is somebody a little bit smaller. We'll see how he officially measures here, but he could test off the charts here and be one of those guys, Kalijah Cansey, like those undersized guys that just you go, you know what, shoot the gap, try to split the double team if you can get off of it and get there. And again, I think the luxury you have is these are guys in the second, third, fourth round of this draft that you're going to ask to play 25, 30 snaps, right? I'm not going to ask Grayson Halton to go in and play 65 snaps immediately. I hope not. It's
Right.
kind of that thing, right? I'd like to break him in, but you mentioned it. You have Mason Smith and those other guys off the edge too come in and play periodically because your stars are your stars and you want them for the biggest moments. But that's what the Jags, they're really going to be looking for. You mentioned the quantity of picks. The more guys that you can get to play 25 to 30 productive snaps, the better your football team is, right? It's not, you're not going to draft, Devin Lloyd every year. You're not going to draft Travis Hunter every year where you're expecting every snap, or in his case on both sides, maybe out of him. But I think the more those guys, like Grayson Halton is a guy, if you got him in the third round, he could come in and give you 25 really good penetrating fresh leg snaps per game, and you'd feel really, really good about it.
But you think he's in the third round? Because I mean, like 3 weeks ago or like a month ago before the Senior Bowl, people are like, oh, he might be like a fourth or a fifth rounder. And now it's like, oh my God, could he creep into the second?
He can play. And the big thing with him is, and I think there's in a draft of defensive tackles where there's so many run stoppers, especially two-gap run stoppers, he's one of the guys with pass rush potential. I don't think there's a ton of true, that's why the hype is so big on Caleb Banks in the first round right now, because everybody's like, oh, is this the premier pass rusher of the group, right? So if you can find that pass rush element to go along with it, and you can fit him in on any down, including the big money third downs, that 3rd and 7 when the game is on the line, against Josh Allen or whoever, those are the guys you're looking for to create that interior pressure. So is it possible that he could be there in the third, or maybe you have to take him at 56? That's entirely possible if he gets there. But again, I think one of the reasons this draft is so hard to predict is beyond the first 10 to 12 players, there's so much even talent that everybody's got different opinions on. And then the consensus is, well, they're good, but are they going to get taken at 30? Or are they going to get taken at 60 or 90? I think there's so many different ways it could go, especially on day 2.
There is also a sense of Trayvon Walker kicking inside a bit more than he has in previous years amongst the fan base. I don't know if that is the case with Liam Cohen and the preliminary planning that they've already done with the current roster as it is for the 2026 season. I do not know if that is a fact or not, but I do know fans have said, oh, what if Trayvon comes inside a little bit more? Because he's obviously a mismatch against guards. So then that opens up a spot along the edge. And that is where you have those two young guys. If you re-sign Dennis Gardick, who they didn't sign until June last year, granted he was coming off his second ACL tear, we'll see what happens on that front. Or is there another guy who then can be more of that Jared Verse rugged edge? And Jared doesn't go inside, but maybe there is someone who then can kind of almost rotate with Trayvon and create more mismatches up front.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about it, again, I think Anthony Campanelli, he values flexibility when it comes to, you can see it in the secondary all the time in the coverage schemes and the different players playing there. But there are a lot of players in this draft. This is, look, like I said, defensive line is it's the deepest position in this draft, right? And that means there's versatile players. I think about a guy who could fill a role like that, and keep Walker on the edge a little more, like an LT Overton from Alabama, right? Outstanding run stuffer, can get in and play the 4-eye, play the 5, get over the tackle, and really plug the gap. Now, to your point, if you wanted to get flexible with Walker and play him inside more, then you look at 56 and you go, are there any edge players here that we like, or even into the 3rd and 4th round? Are there any designated pass rusher types that we like and go, okay, play Walker on the edge on early downs, right? Yep. And then go, all right, you kick inside. And then we see teams rotating. And I think a big thing, too, because teams are so often now trying to avoid having to help with safeties in the run. If he wants to get in those 5-man fronts on early downs, okay, let's put Walker at the 5. If we draft a guy like Overton, we can put him in the 5 and then just somebody else to just set the edge and hold tight, out there in a 5-man front. So that flexibility, I do think, is such a huge part, but it makes it easier to draft. It makes it more flexible in the draft too, because you can go, okay, we can fill this role with multiple different guys and find the ideal situation come July and August and when we get into games.
The aggregate, as our friend EJ Snyder said yesterday on Club 904, who might be an edge rusher that you look at and you're like, ooh, this could be fun for camp?
Man, round 2 or 3.
Or it could be on day 3 too. We can move a little bit into day 3.
One of the guys I fell in love with late in the college season was Nadain Tucker from Western Michigan. And we saw him at the Senior Bowl, and we were like, okay, let's see how it stacks up, because he dominated the MAC, and he was, I think he had our highest pass rush win rate in the country this year at Western Michigan.
Which, by the way, there is a former Western Michigan assistant, offensive side of the ball, but on the Jaguars staff. So
I mean, he just all of a sudden you watch his burst and his hand usage and things like that off the line of scrimmage, and then we got to see it at the Senior Bowl, and it was like, you know what, this kind of holds up. This guy might be worth, say, maybe one of those early 4th round picks. Because a day 3 approach for me would be just get guys you want, right? Like I get there's differences in talent probably between round 4 and round 7, but get guys you want. Nadain Tucker from Western Michigan. I'm curious to see how he tests out here as well. Really fascinated with his tape during the season. And it was really only 1 year starting because he transferred in from Houston, and all of a sudden he was one of the most dominant pass rushers in the country. So that's somebody I think when you get into that early to mid 4th round range, they might start thinking about him. And he's the exact type of player on 3rd down. You go, okay, kick Walker inside, let Tucker stand up, let it rip.
Briefly, offensive side of the ball, Dalton. Anybody in particular on the offensive side, whether it's a running back, is there another position? I talked to EJ a little bit about tight end, and I'm so fascinated. Another little off-season nerd project of mine has just been with Sean McVay running the insane amount of 13 and 12 personnel he ran in the NFC Championship game. Will Liam follow suit? Does he need a running mate for Brenton Strange? Offensive side of the ball, where do you see the Jags?
I mean, I think he absolutely wants to emulate that, and I think he could use one more receiver type who could fit in with that, because we saw when Brenton Strange was hurt. I think Brenton Strange, you could argue, is the key to the whole offense, honestly. I think the way when he's healthy and as efficient as they run, both run and pass, and with their personnel, 12 personnel, things like that, Strange is a huge key. But to get one more pass catching complement, because I love how the rest of the group blocks. It's one of the best group of blocking tight ends, even with or without Strange in the league. But another receiver type of complement, and I wonder, is it more of a flex player, like if he was there at 56, like an Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt? Could it be a smaller guy?
But can Eli block? That's my question.
Well, and right, that's what he's going to have to put some weight on. But in an offense where you already have these blocking tight ends, the receiving ability could help you early. Then I think about, is it somebody who is a good athlete with potential as a blocker? I kind of like Eli Raridan from Notre Dame, right? I think about that. I think about it's very interesting with them because they have blockers in-house.
Right.
How much more could they lean into the receiving type? Could they draft, say, a Michael Trigg who could play a similar role as Aronde Gadsden did with the Chargers last year? Is it somebody like Tanner Koziol from Houston who definitely has to get stronger, but the receiving ability, especially in the red zone, is there? And hey, if I get 10 more pounds on him and he can still run and make contested catches like he does, that would be a valuable player. I think that's the idea, is that Strange is the foundation. What type of players do we want to complement him? That's really how I believe that. But I do think he's going to try to emulate that, because we saw it with the Rams and even Seattle. It works. Yeah. It absolutely works, and it creates mismatches.
Last one, running back. Unless you have a wide receiver name that you think is intangibly rich and adds to the room. But running back, certainly, if Travis Etienne is to walk, which is at this point kind of expected, he will at the very least test the waters of free agency. Who would be a running back that you say that's a fit with Liam Cohen and his scheme?
I think if he's trying to get more downhill and get multiple tight ends in there, I mean, I really like some of the earlier ones that could be round 2 or 3 guys. Jonah Coleman, he runs so hard. I mean,
EJ said it, and our friend Trevor Sikkema said it.
You talk about if you just want the Kyron Williams type, just yards after contact, bruiser on early downs, Jonah Coleman. I really like Emmett Johnson from Nebraska. His vision is outstanding. I think as quick as he's not going to come out here and blaze and run a 4.3, I don't think, but he's probably going to be closer to a 4.5 guy. But I love his vision. He's got some of the best vision in the class. And if he's trying to get to more of the zone running schemes, I think Mike Washington is a sleeper out here. 6'1", almost 230 pounds. I think he could test better than a lot of people think at his size. He's somebody I really like the more tape I watched him in Arkansas.
Now we say all that, and the Jaguars are inevitably drafting an offensive lineman, 56. I accepted my fate.
I mean, they could still use some depth there. I think to find more young talent is never a bad thing either. They're kind of locked into the line they have now with what they're paying them, but I don't think it's ever offensive line depth.
Yeah, surprised was the EVP after all. We know they love some offensive linemen. So Dalton Wasserman, let us know what's coming up on PFF that folks can keep an eye out for in Duval.
We will be live on our YouTube channel today at 4 o'clock. We've got a post-combine mock draft coming on Monday. And then, as always, we're getting through draft rankings. And then free agency week, we're probably going to be on every day the entire week. So check out the PFF YouTube channel and the PFF College YouTube channel, as always, for great content, NFL and college football.
Boom. Appreciate you. You can't hear Jason Hamby. He's thanking you.
Appreciate it, Jason.
Hamby, we're going to send it back to you and maybe Brent Martineau, who could be somewhere in Boston in the snow right now. There's Hamby.
Something like that. Appreciate you guys. We'll check back in with you
Thank
later.
you, Hamby.
You got it. All right, that is B. O'Brien, Wasserman up there in Indianapolis. Appreciate their insight. Boots on the ground up there at the NFL Combine. I didn't hear Oscar Delp's name mentioned. Weird. At the tight end spot. Go ahead and bring a dog home in this draft. I would love that here in Jacksonville. All right, that's going to do it for us today. No Brent today, but he will be right back tomorrow. Austin will be back in studio. So we've got a full lineup of stuff on a Thursday. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us today. We're going to have more coverage of London throughout on Action News Jacks, 4, 5, and 6 on Fox 30 and CBS 47. Also on Sports Tonight. And then into the weekend, as we approach the end of the week, more and more trying to put this puzzle piece together. Obviously, again, it's probably 10 weeks away from the release of the 2026 schedule, mid-May, most likely, for the NFL schedule. But who will the Jags opponents be over it across the pond in London? And who will they be hosting limited capacity? 42,507 seats. A lot more coverage for you coming up on the Brent and Austin Show, Action Sports Jacks 24/7 Network. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Have a good Wednesday, everybody.
CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing is taking their 75-plus years of expertise and expanding to CGC Home Services. Water treatment and plumbing is still a big part of what they do, and now they can do even more for you. Home services like kitchen and bathroom remodeling, showers, sinks, faucets, toilet repair, backflow testing, and the list keeps going. Find all they can do at cgchomeservices.com or give them a call, 904-298-7052. It's a new look and a new name with the same expertise. They've been serving homes like yours since 1946. CGC Home Services, right here in Jacksonville off St. John's Bluff Road, 904-298-7052. And visit cgchomeservices.com. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
We've been telling you about the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network for over a year now. How to find it, what to see. Simply put, it's TV online. Local sports content all day, every day. Just like this.
Did you always want to make history? Like, think that big, or just say, hey, I want to play in the NFL?
I always say I want to play in the NFL.
That's it. Back to her left side. Takes a shot. And into the back of the net.
Oh, what a pass.
Oh, my goodness.
What a pass. Say he doesn't make a tackle. You still feel like his presence is felt in every single play.
I did have a sense that they wanted to be bold, that they wanted to make a splash.
It's content you won't find on TV. Find it on actionsportsjacks.com and just sit back and watch local sports all day on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
It's one of the hot spots in the area.
Welcome you to String Sports Brewery out at the beach. Big crowd on hand tonight. The fans are here.
And now the newest hot spot at the beach is open. String Sports Brewery in Jax Beach has opened its doors with rave reviews.
We're going to be fans forever.
Cozy up to the bar, grab a seat in the sports-themed restaurant, or grab a seat outside and feel that breeze coming off the beach as the weather warms. Just like the original location in Springfield, try the popular beer menu and come for lunch or dinner too, because the food is fantastic.
We got a special guest in the house. He's happy. He's feeling good. He's Trayvon Walker.
It's where we hosted Jags Report Live in the football season. and the String Sports Brewery staff can't wait to host you. Hey, welcome back here to String Sports Brewery. And if you haven't checked out the new location in Jax Beach, you got to do it. String Sports Brewery, now with 2 locations in Springfield and now open in Jax Beach on Penman Road.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jags PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
This has been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jags PAL.
Nimnicht is synonymous with Jacksonville, and now in 2026, Nimnicht is celebrating 85 years of partnerships with you. Longevity equals trust, and you want a car dealership you can trust. Thousands of vehicles sold, generations of families, all part of the Nimnicht family of dealerships. My family has been part of the Nimnicht family for almost 20 of those 85 years, and I've told you about all the different vehicles that we've purchased. But it's not about the cars and the trucks. It's about the service and also the Nimnicht relationships that expand all around the community.
Congratulations to Jordan Matthews, our committed to the uncommitted player of the year.
Nobody but Nimnicht. They are there for you and your causes, your car buying experience, and they are there for you 24 hours a day at NimnichtBuickGMC.com. Experience professional grade with big inventory and even bigger savings. And Jacksonville's only Car Bravo certified dealership. Nobody but Nimnicht for 85 years. This milestone belongs to you.